are live. And I hope everyone is doing well. Sorry about that. Took me 1 second to get the green screen I wanted on. The green screen I have on behind me right now, and I realize I don't have my computer plugged in. Let me get this. Is the carpet at the beautiful Leamington Masonic building, one of my favorite buildings, one of my favorite places in the world. It's a beautiful and a cool city as well. Leamington doesn't always get the, in my opinion, the respect it deserves. It's a really cool Southern Ontario city. And so this is the beautiful carpet. Whenever I think about our carpets or our Masonic buildings, I always think about their cool and unique kind of features that they have, and the carpets are one of them. So let's give it some time. Let's see who joins. This is kind of a typical 24-hour live stream, not a 24 hours straight, which I have done in the past. I'm going to be coming in and out, but rather basically a bit of a content marathon. I'm going to be talking about a lot of different things throughout this stream. If I have any, as can be the case, any technical difficulties, I will simply restart the stream. I may be traveling to some different places throughout the next 24 hours, whatever it might be. Not a 24 hours straight, because those are too difficult to do, but I will be producing a lot of content over the next 24 hours. So, yeah. You're basically going to see me doing across different channels as well. Maybe not exclusively on this channel, but I'll always try to give updates as to where I'll be, what I'll be talking about, what I'll be doing. Also, let me know if you guys like the background, if it looks cool. I'm going to be doing a longer stream though. I got my comfortable hoodie, snuggie thing on. It's really comfortable. So there is that as well. I feel like I look like a monk with this thing on, but it's a really cool gift. Also, $2 super chat. If you do a $2 super chat or more, I will, you will hear your super chat text to speech, which is kind of a cool thing, whatever it is, super chat you provide. Civilization, the problem is I have a PS3, so I don't think I can play it. I think I need a more advanced module, right? Masonic temple carpet. So there was a few different things I wanted to talk about, including, but not limited to, asking the question of your favorite, attributes within a Masonic building. Is there some place that you've been to that has a really beautiful feature? And we're going to talk about specifically Masonic features, but it doesn't have to be. It could be just something that you've seen outside of Freemasonry that you think is really cool. Our buildings, one of the things that makes them so incredible and so important and so beautiful is, it could be a carpet, it could be architecture. It's the unique features that make them special that I really think we should celebrate. Churches, are there any specific attributes of churches that you remember? Could be the stained glass windows, maybe it's their flooring, maybe it's their stonework, their masonry, if you will. Also want to make sure I'm announcing special events as we go through, because there are some really cool things coming up. People don't realize this, but it is National Libraries Week in the States, and I think that we in Freemasonry can potentially produce some really, really cool connections with our local libraries. We have a lot of Masonic authors doing great work. How many libraries, like public libraries, have sections for Freemasonry within them? And would it be worth us trying to get more of these kind of Masonic sections in local libraries? I'm wearing, Mr. Pallad, my very awesome Snuggie. A friend of mine got this for me. As soon as going to be doing a long stream, basically almost a marathon, if you will. Not quite a marathon, but almost a marathon. I wanted to be comfortable. So I got this really cool thing on. If you are just joining the stream, please hit like, please hit subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. If you hear running water in the background, that's my cat using the the litter box. Erica, well, I'm going to be doing, it's not going to be straight, it's not going to be without breaks, but I'm going to be producing a bunch of content over the next 24 hours across multiple channels. Maybe the more, who knows, maybe the more subscribers I get or the more money, the more super chats I get, maybe I'll see about going longer with fewer breaks. Hello, whatever you say. Thank you for being here. I hope that you're doing well. Please hit like, please hit subscribe. Any thoughts you have on Freemasonry, positive, negative, or neutral? I'd love to hear them. The first hour, I never had any specific talking points. We just hang out and chat. The second hour, though, second 60 minutes in, is when I start to talk about specific topics, including Freemasonry and libraries. I think that'd be really cool to talk about because it is National Library Week in the States. And I believe also in Canada, but in the States for sure. Whatever you say, hello. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for being here. Please take a moment, hit the like button and the subscribe button. No, my background is not real. My background is green screened. Well, it's real in that it's a real picture I took of the carpeting at the Leamington Masonic building, Leamington Masonic Temple, pick your term. One of my favorite carpets. It probably is my favorite carpet in any Masonic building I've been to, so. Honestly, Captain, I feel like you're being sarcastic, but you shouldn't be. Sanitation and sewage systems and having them properly designed and built is actually one of the most fundamentally important things when it comes to the ability for a society to function well, right? In ancient Rome, one of their first great building projects was the Cloaca Maxima. Without having that, it's very likely Rome would not have been able to become what it became. And in some ways, Freemasonry was there, or stonemasonry was there. The stonework of the sewers allowed for the proper disposal of waste, which then ensured the civilization could grow. So don't be too quick to knock these things. Those things matter a lot. Sanitation workers are literally keeping us safe and healthy. I've never looked up snake diet guy. I really should. Yes, David Gardner, I got a 5 head. Please hit like, please hit subscribe. I would really, really appreciate it. Consider a super chat as well. Just $2. You'll hear your super chat right out text to speech. I mean, Captain Blackbird, I don't know if there's a father of plumbing, but plumbers have nothing but my respect. They deserve it. Believe me, as someone who has had to use plumbers in the past, because I've had some gross mishaps. We're all human. We all have them. I have a lot of respect for plumbers, for anybody who works with their hands for a living. It's not easy. I would agree with that. I think you make people happy. You certainly make it so people are able to be healthy, right? Sewage is one of the leading causes of raw sewage, sewage getting into water systems and proper cleaning. That's how you get hepatitis, all sorts of diseases. Well, congratulations for being allowed to roam free. Most of us did not have quite so much luck. It was tough during the COVID lockdowns. It was tough for Freemasonry as well. We made it though, right? We made it through. In a lot of ways, COVID kind of feels like the blip, like this, if you know Marvel, this thing that just happened and we don't talk about, even though it was a pretty crazy time. John, I've been talking about this a lot. And you're right, it is very expensive, and that affects a lot of things, including Freemasonry. So, without a doubt and without a question, as things get more expensive, including gas, suddenly people need to think about, for example, are they going to pay for gas to go to lodge meetings? Are they going to pay for gas to go to Masonic funerals, Masonic functions? Do they have the money to do so? I don't necessarily know. I think it all depends on your perspective. Catholicism is cool. I mean, I think for a lot of people, they really struggled during COVID. It wasn't fun at all, especially if you struggle from mental health issues. Isolation can be incredibly difficult and dangerous. Um, I wouldn't say COVID schmovid. I think it impacted a lot of people in a lot of different ways. Um, and I think we're still seeing some of the effects of that. You're not wrong. We are still feeling the effects of COVID. I mean, we all didn't just play video games. Some of us still had to work. Some of us had very important jobs we couldn't avoid going to, right? Which caused obviously um, some challenges, right? Like I used to work in a jail. The correctional officers still had to go to work at the jail, working with people who could have COVID in close quarters. It was obviously very challenging for a lot of people. So I don't want it to seem as though it was just fun and games for everybody. I think there were the people who had to work from home, but um, their job was such that they were very limited in what they were able to accomplish and do. They had to try to find workarounds. I was really proud, though, of the workarounds that I found through Freemasonry. It was really fun stuff. I did a virtual beer and cheese tasting night. I did a virtual whiskey night where we sent out packages of beer and cheeses and whiskeys to membership, and then we all got together on a Zoom meeting and we taste tested the different drinks combined with the different food and different cheese. It was really fun. Um, Good evening, Integrity Install. Thank you for being here. I mean, I will say this is why I'm always promoting and pushing um, getting vaccinated. I'm up to date with all my vaccinations for COVID, for the flu, for all my travels, hepatitis A, hepatitis B, tetanus, yellow fever. As I travel, I try to get vaccinated and be really responsible with that. Both of which I don't want to be picking up diseases, bringing them back to Canada. I also don't want to be bringing diseases with me when I travel. Um, Trevor, what's your question? I must have missed it. You need to keep in mind, I don't always see every question. Indy, welcome. I'd like to think I'm not evil, but maybe I am. How did I work it? Well, it's called a rehab officer, which is a little bit of a misnomer. I basically was responsible for working with guys when they're about to get released and women, finding them housing and a place to go, things of that nature. I also helped get people into work programs and school programs, which I was grateful for. I don't know how I'm evil, but believe me, I'm sure other people have considered me evil as well. It's one of those things you just kind of grow to accept. Um, People are what they are and are going to believe what they're going to believe. My focus should just be on trying to be as good as I can and as nice as I can and try as hard as I can to make the world a better place. I might win, I might lose, I might succeed, I might fail, but no one can say that I did not absolutely give every inch of myself to this thing called Freemasonry and to this thing called Square and Compass Promotions. Um, I did not. Someone has been watching way too many foolish soap operas. No, I did not. Um, and honestly, I never saw that happen. I worked in the jail for um, how long did I work in the jail for? Now I can't think of it. I worked in the jail for 5 years. Never saw that. So I don't think I'm a pawn. Again, anything's possible. It's one of those things where I'm not going to pretend as though, because people will tell me, how do you know for sure you're not a pawn for some evil organization? And it's like, of course, I can never know anything 100% for certain. I can't know that there aren't invisible leprechauns in my apartment building. What I can do is use my common sense, my judgment, use my observations of the world around me and my apartment, and make the best assumption and the best judgments based on those observations and logic and common sense. And based on all of that, in the same way, I don't believe that there are any invisible leprechauns in my apartment. I don't believe there's any evil kind of group controlling Freemasonry. So there you go. You take that for whatever it's worth. He can call me evil. It's okay. I'm not going to block him. I mean, he's wrong, obviously, but I'm not going to block him. As long as he's not insulting anybody else on the stream. That's where the issues come. What does a Freemason do? I mean, a Freemason ultimately is a designation of membership, right? So if you're a Freemason, it means you're a member of a club or an organization called Freemasonry. It's not so much something you do as it is something of which you are a member. Now, in theory, being a member gives you the ability to do things. It gives you the ability to attend Masonic lodge meetings. It gives you the ability to attend Masonic lodge functions, to be an officer in the lodge, to organize charitable events, to organize degree nights, to bring other people in, or not to bring the people in per se, because we don't work that way, we don't recruit, but rather to be part of rituals and degrees if somebody's interested in joining. But ultimately, Freemasonry, it's not something you do, it's something of which you're a member. Kind of like if you are a member of a gym, you don't necessarily have to do anything other than be a member of that gym, but you can choose to take advantage of the membership status by attending lodge functions, by attending events, and by assisting the lodge in its charitable activities, things of that nature. I got this this does look a bit like a 33rd degree cloak of some sort. I don't think I have any horns on top of my head, so I guess that's a good thing. Define behind the scenes. I mean, you're not really doing stuff behind the scenes. You're just doing stuff. You're just doing stuff as part of the lodge. Mostly what you do is in front of everybody, right? Like sometimes, yeah, you can, as a member of the lodge, you have the ability to go visit the lodge, for example, more often, maybe help clean up, whatever it might be. I think it is. I like the idea that we are part of the British monarchy. I think it's a nice callback to tradition, which I think is incredibly valuable. I think tradition is very important. As a Freemason, it makes sense that I would think that. Although there are many Freemasons who, in fairness, are not fans of the monarchy. I know that for sure as well. So sometimes you have to make adjustments and you have to make modifications, whether you are a Freemason or anything else. You figure out how to make things work, Jeremy, and then you make it work. What are my hobbies? Asks John. I love scary movies. Horror is my favorite genre, so I enjoy that. I enjoy writing about scary movies and horror. I enjoy writing on Medium. I enjoy professional wrestling. Hope you guys all enjoyed WrestleMania. But mostly, what I really enjoy, beyond anything else, is trying to help people through Freemasonry. If I wasn't a Freemason, I would try to help people in other ways, but Freemasonry is kind of the way it is for me. Charlie Kirk is not a Freemason or was not a Freemason. There's no evidence that he was at all. So, no, Charlie Kirk was not a Freemason. I have a ring. I've shown it. I've shown this ring on the channel a few times. I mean, I was born 83, so I loved 80s and 90s WWF. When I was a really young kid, it was Hulk Hogan. Then when I got older, it was Bret Hart. My favorite wrestler currently, though, is John Cena. My top five scary movies. Yes, Husafel, Freemasons are like the Elks Club and Moose Clubs. Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5 are my two favorite scary movies and my two favorite movies of all time. After that, it gets a little bit complicated because there's a lot of them I really enjoy. Sorority Row from 2009, Halloween 2 from Rob Zombie, and Mulholland Drive. And whatever anybody else thinks, Mulholland Drive is, in fact, a horror movie. But if you want to learn more about my favorite movies, I have a Letterboxd account now. I just got it, so follow me on Letterboxd. I'll leave a link in the chat. Rick, welcome, Rick. Did you get the letter with the coins? I mailed it about a week ago, give or take, to the old address, care of. My opinion on Trudeau, and I don't know what you mean. I mean, I hope that they have a good life. Yes, they are. I agree with that 100%. I love all the nightmares, including the remake. I'm a truther in that I don't, or not a truther, a defender, I maybe is the term, of these franchises, including the Nightmare on Elm Streets, the Halloweens, the Fridays. It doesn't matter which one it is. I love them all, including the 2010 remake, including Freddy's Dead, including Part 5, which I think is the best of the nightmares. It's either Part 5 or Part 4. This is one of those streams where I love them all. Okay, I mailed it last week, so it should have came. I have the date I mailed it somewhere. I should have got it tracked, to be honest, because I've had issues and troubles with mail in the past. That is Part 3, Weston Hills. Part 3 is an excellent, excellent. Most people say it's the best of the franchise, and it's really good because that's Dawkins, Dream Warriors. But for me, I think Part 4 and 5 are better. If you guys can see that, I just put my Letterboxd link in the chat. If you want to follow me there. I'm mailing adult stuff. I mean, kids would not be able to get it because you have to be a Patreon or a super chat, super chatter, both of which should be 18 plus. Highlander, if you want to get anything from me, it's either a $10 super chat or you need to become a Patreon. And if you do that, you need to send me an email with your contact information on it. And the contact information gets emailed to info@squareandcompass.ca. So it's info@squareandcompass.ca or become a Patreon member, patreon.com/squareandcompass. Patreon.com/squareandcompass helps me turn my passion for Freemasonry into a profession. Hello, Paracopter. This is a live stream talking about Freemasonry. I got my Snuggie on because it's going to be a long stream. And behind me, you can see the carpet from the Leamington Masonic building, which is one of my favorite carpets, one of my favorite places to visit. Please hit like, please hit subscribe. Let me know if you have any thoughts on Freemasonry. Positive, negative, or neutral. I'd love to hear it. Super chat. Would be much obliged. Catholicism, you need to calm down. He's not. Um, I don't have to. I mean, I'm not a fan of Trump. I don't know if I'd say hate. I don't like him. That's my personal opinion. There are some Freemasons who think he's great, probably. I've actually known a few Freemasons who support him. I'm not one of them. Um, what is my Masonic view of the black and white tiles? Well, there is no Masonic view of the black and. I mean, every Freemason kind of will understand what they represent, which is usually meant to be duality between good and evil, kind of focusing on and remembering there is good and evil within all of us, within the world, and trying to focus on the good as much as we can, which can be very challenging, especially in 2026. But yeah, that's kind of what the focus is on. The gavel, I mean, the gavel is a symbol. It's held usually by the worshipful master and the wardens of the lodge. It's meant to signify kind of authority, right? No different than any other club president or any other judge, whatever it might be. When they bang the gavel, it's meant to represent their authority. Well, according to, I mean, what do you mean according to who? According to any number of different philosophies. The idea of good and evil existing within all of us is not a particularly new idea, right? It go back to the Bible. But if you want to learn more about kind of some of these symbols, Chris Hodap is a good place to start. He talks about, he wrote a book called Freemasonry for Dummies. It's a very good first introduction into Freemasonry. 5 Mile Smile. Are you from 5 Mile, like in Detroit? Because I'm from Windsor. According to whose standard you differentiate between good and evil? Well, I mean, I don't really know what you're saying. The black and white tiles aren't meant to tell anybody what is good and what is evil. Rather, it's just meant to be aware that good and evil exists. I suppose, as a general rule, if you're talking about it from a spiritual perspective, you would tell them to find answers to those more metaphysical questions from their religious leadership. If they're Christian, then their priest. I mean, in general, Freemasonry can give some pretty good ethical guidance on how to differentiate. Certainly, it's going to say charity is more on the good side, benevolence, kindness, teamwork, tolerance. Those would probably be more on the good than not so good side. The other thing that the checkered floor can represent is called a mosaic pavement, an emulation ritual, which is meant to represent not so much duality between good and evil, but the value of temperance in a very challenging life and focusing on not becoming too excited when things go well or too unhappy when things go poorly. So there you go. No, 5 Mile Smile. You're getting close to some slanderous terms there. Freemasonry doesn't pretend to do charitable works, it does charitable works. In fact, some of the most recent charitable works it did. Let's see. I just had the numbers here a second ago. Let's see if I can find those numbers again. I had it a second ago. The Masonic Charities Foundation just awarded £8,078 to the TLC Foundation in support of children with special educational needs and disabilities. That is out of United Grand Lodge of England. We are not Satanists. 5 Mile Smile. Someone's been watching a whole bunch of baloney on social media. Freemasonry, we are not Satanists. We're not satanic. We can't be because Freemasonry is not a religion. And because Freemasonry is not a religion, right, we have no Satan to worship, nor do we worship any religious figures. Individual Masons will have their own sense of worship, obviously. They may be Christian, Jewish, Muslim, Hindu, Sikh, whatever it might be. John, well, thank you for being here nonetheless. Um, Catholicism, I will answer whatever questions I can, but you need to calm down a little bit. Um, well, most conservative podcasters are wrong to say bad things about Freemasonry. By the way, the Masonic Charities Foundation also awarded £15,000 to the Marches Family Network, which is also in support of of children with special educational needs and disabilities. Hello, New Zealand Gambler. I'm assuming that's NZ Gambler. Um, 5 Mile. There are many Christians who are Freemasons. Christians are a very valuable and important part of the Masonic fraternity, as are Muslims, as are Jewish people, as are Hindus and Sikhs, and many other different belief systems. Hello, Freemasons guy. Well, I don't think everyone in the world knows I'm evil because I'm not evil, and there are many Christian Freemasons. I sit with them all the time. Um, I do not ride any rides in shopping malls. A bit too old for that. Hello, Gel- uh, Vangelisperia. Thank you for being here. It's nice to meet you too. If you're new to the stream, please take a moment, hit the like button and the subscribe button. I'd really, really appreciate it. Say something about the Epstein files. I've talked a bunch about the Epstein files, particularly pushing back against the nonsense conspiracy theorists that are claiming Freemasonry is tied into Epstein Island, which it's not. I actually did a search of the Epstein files and talked about when Freemasonry is mentioned within them, the number of times, and the fact that at no point within any of those times that it's mentioned is it any indication that any Freemasons visited the island or that Epstein is a Freemason. I've been to Brazil. I've been to Rio de Janeiro. It's an incredibly beautiful place, and there's a lot of Freemasonry in Rio de Janeiro as well. So beautiful, beautiful place, beautiful state. I'd like to get back to Rio if I could at some point. No, he is not a Freemason, and his rituals are not Masonic. Thought about what, Chip Broadhead? And by the way, to anybody watching this, please consider hitting the like button and the subscribe button and doing a super chat. If you do a $2 super chat, you'll hear your super chat read out text to speech. Freemasons don't worship Saturn. Freemasons do not worship, again, we cannot worship anything because we're not a religion. By definition, in order to worship something, you have to first be a religion, and Freemasons are not religious. So, very sorry to disappoint. I loved being in Rio de Janeiro. I thought it was beautiful. Where's the first Freemason Hall in the USA? I used to know that. If I recall correctly, it was Boston. I could be mistaken, but I believe it was Boston. It was in a port town. You know, I've always said Freemasonry is a story of stone and water, which it is. Stone is obvious, stonemasons. The water is because Freemasonry started in Scotland and England. In order to travel from Scotland and England and make it to various parts of the world, Europe and the New World, it relied on naval ships and boats to get Freemasons across these vast distances, which is why very often the very first Masonic lodges were found in port towns. If I recall correctly, the first Masonic lodge in America was in, like I said, it was in Boston. I think the Green Dragon Tavern, but I could be mistaken. There's Freemasonry in San Francisco. There's a beautiful building in San Francisco. Absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous lodge there. The Grand Lodge of California is actually located in San Francisco. It's beautiful. One of the coolest places ever. Well, I'm not trying to normalize Freemasonry. I mean, because frankly, I'm not concerned about whether people view it as normal or not. I mean, it's something I love. It's no different than if I had a favorite movie. Maybe my purpose is just to talk about my favorite movie. And if you want to watch it, you can. If you don't want to watch it, you don't have to. I would say I'd like to see Freemasonry be more relevant in people's lives once again. There was a time when a Masonic lodge was a major and very important part of what it meant to be in a town or community. It was kind of, in many cases, the center of that town or community. I'd like to see that return. Um, NZ Gambler, I have no idea what you're talking about and what you mean by that. Um, I do not know which governing spiritual powers you are referring to. Whatever you say, back in the day, I did do some stuff on my personal YouTube channel about scary movies. You can find it, youtube.com/Cameron Adamson. That's my personal account. I want to do more stuff on there. I just haven't got around to it yet. It did not make me rich. Hopefully this channel will make me rich. So please consider doing some gifts and supporting the channel that way. It would be much, much appreciated. Super chats, Patreon, all that good stuff. It helps out big time, believe me. Do I know of any Freemasons that are also in the Skull and Bones Secret Society? I do not. I mean, that to my knowledge is Yale, right? It's primarily in Yale. So sadly, or not sadly, or just whatever it is, I do not. Bradley Miller, thank you for being here. Please hit like and subscribe. Consider a super chat. Captain, you're absolutely right. I've been doing that a little bit on Instagram. If you find me on Instagram, you can find me taking pictures of a lot of Masonic buildings, not video tours, but a lot of Masonic buildings I've taken pictures of. You can find me on Instagram at, let me just leave a link to that. Instagram.com/square, oops, _and_compass_promotions. And I also have Instagram accounts which have specifically pictures of interior Masonic buildings and the facades. So Instagram.com/@square_and_compass_promotions. Check out some of my Masonic buildings there. I'd really appreciate it. So Oddfellows, Gregory, are not directly a part of Freemasonry, but there is a lot of overlap between them. So that's one. I never liked the original because I've never liked them too gory. My scary movies. A lot of people don't realize it, but the quote unquote, the Hostel, the Nightmares, the Fridays, the Halloweens, they're not as gory as people think they are. People have a really overestimate how much gore is actually in them. But I did recently see Hostel 2 and actually enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. So I want to revisit the first one. And maybe I will end up liking it more than I thought. But for me, it still goes first and foremost, Nightmare, Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Halloween, Chucky. I like the Puppet Master series a lot. I enjoy those kind of films. They're very silly but fun. Leprechaun even. I love the Leprechaun franchise. I didn't sell my soul. And by the way, I'm not a religious expert, but I don't believe you actually can sell your soul. I'm nearly positive that if you were to ask people of religious experts, they would tell you that you actually cannot sell your soul because it doesn't belong to you. Which I believe that to be the case, by the way. I think it belongs to the man upstairs. I loved Leprechaun. I loved Leprechaun to the Hood, or in the Hood. I love Leprechaun Back to the Hood. I thought they're both really they're really fun films. Those movies in general are really fun. I think they don't get the love they deserve. Yeah, well, he's a troll, but at the same time, he represents what a lot of people think. It's unfortunate that a lot of people think that, but he does represent what a lot of people think. And because of that, I don't want to kick him out quite yet. I'm not going to say for sure I'll ever be able to convince him that he's wrong, but maybe. Who knows? Well, don't be calling people idiots, 5 Mile. That's going to get you timed out or banned. You can call me an idiot if you want, but you don't call other people on the stream an idiot because that's not cool. That is true, whatever you say. George Washington and many presidents were Freemasons, um, as well as many founding fathers. Probably 15 or 16 presidents were Freemasons. Um, hello, Mihail YouTube. Thank you for being here. Please like and subscribe. The most recent undisputed Freemason president was Gerald Ford. Some would argue, what's his name? Joe Biden was a Freemason or is a Freemason, though that's highly contested. So we're going to put an asterisk by that. I'm a Freemason and I'm proud to say I'm active. I want to use the term practicing, Aussie John, because to me, saying you're practicing Freemason sounds too much like saying, it sounds too much like a practicing religious, like practicing Catholic, right? I'm not a fan of that because Freemasonry is not a religion. But I am very active within Freemasonry and very proud of it. Aussie John, please hit like and subscribe. I'd really, really appreciate it. Not always tolerant, Captain Blackbird, but sometimes. Ozzy, are you a Freemason? And if so, welcome. Thank you for being here. Please hit like, please hit subscribe, consider a super chat, consider a gift, share the stream, all that jazz helps out big time. It is National Libraries Week. The reason I'm asking about having a library card is because it's National Libraries Week. I think public libraries are very important. I also think our Masonic libraries are equally important, and maybe we don't get enough love. I loved Children of the Corn. I thought it was awesome. Okay, well, welcome, Ozzy, nonetheless. Thank you for being here. Whether you're a Mason or not, you're still welcome on the stream. I have watched Shutter Island. I enjoyed it. I like the book a lot, too. I like Shutter Island. It's a good movie. And thank you for the sunshine. That's very kind of you. As it is 1:30 in the morning, it's nice to get some sunshine. Hello, Yamches. Thank you for being here. By the way, Rick, did you get the did you get the letter? Did you get the coins? Did I like Sinister? I haven't seen Sinister. I know I said I'm a huge scary movie fan, and I am. Never seen Sinister. It's one of those ones that just kind of missed my radar. So, um, it's unfortunate. Actually, Rick, what did you think of the? Okay, if it doesn't come in because I have extras, if it doesn't come in a couple weeks, I will resend. Um, but you should get it shortly. I love the Scream franchise. I mean, I think there's no bad movie in the Scream franchise. My favorite is Scream 4 of them all. Never seen Devils, never seen Caligula. Thoughts on the all-seeing eye? What do you mean thoughts? I mean, it's also called the Eye of Ra. It's also called the Eye of Providence. I think there's a very valuable moral or ethical lesson within the all-seeing eye. This idea that you can try to get away with stuff or think nobody's seen you, but your conscience sees you, or the supreme being, as you understand it, sees you. And either way, you have to make amends with that and try to figure out how to live with that. It's kind of like the postman always rings twice. No worries. Like I said, if you don't get it in another week, I'll try to resend. We'll see. I got some fantastic books. I agree with that, Stephen McCrae. I absolutely agree with that. My favorite is Scream 2, 1, 3. Hey, they're all great. There's been, 7 Screams, and each one is decent to great. I would say 4 is my favorite. I just rewatched Scream 2. It's really good. I forgot how good Scream 2 is. It's really underappreciated, I think, how good that one is. Well, Robert, you look like someone who should hit the like and subscribe button. Um, Curious about what? Yes, Feed Central. I know I look like Mark Wahlberg. I'll take it. Please hit like and subscribe. I agree. I think seven was the weakest in the franchise, but it was still good. It just wasn't as good as the other ones. Few years, Midnight Rocker, few years, and I'm still trying to grow. So I don't want it to stop here. That's for sure. Um, Please hit like, please hit subscribe if you are new to the stream. Help me get even further. Consider a super chat, consider a gift. All that stuff helps out big time. So this is my Snuggie. This is my Snuggie because it's very comfortable and it's 2 in the morning. And if I'm going to be doing one of these kind of marathon-ish streams, I need to have something comfortable. My background is the carpet from the Leamington Masonic building, Leamington Masonic Temple. I really like the carpet. I think it's beautiful. Um, so what do you have to say that's cool, Robert, the Great One? I'd love to hear what your cool things are. And also, please hit like and subscribe. 63 votes. It looks like the majority of people do not have a library card, which is a shame because I think libraries are incredibly important. Even if you don't ever plan to use the library, it is absolutely worth getting a library card because um, they will, the number of people who have a library card, the city will use that as a statistic to justify more or less funding. So the more people who have library cards, the more likely the local library is to get more municipal funding. Um, Tushan, Imam. I mean, Freemasonry does not worship Satan, so that's just not something Freemasonry does. Freemasonry is not a religion of any sort. We don't worship Satan, nor do we worship any figures. Individual Masons, maybe Christian, maybe Muslim, maybe Jewish, Hindu, Sikh, whatever it might be, but that's their personal religious beliefs. Freemasonry, we do not worship Satan. Eric Sanchez, I mean, and the thing to keep in mind also is most libraries now have connections to digital streaming services. For example, the Windsor Public Library, you can download, you can use the Hoopla app, Hoopla, or you can use the Kanopy app, Kanopy, and you can actually rent movies, audiobooks, digital books. It's really, really cool. So I know that's true for Glenview has its own system, Glenview, Illinois, the Brownwood libraries as well. So have you seen the conspiracy theory? I've not seen the conspiracy theory about the Oscars, but there's a million conspiracy theories out there. Ozzy, I'm not sure what you mean by are Freemasons truly free? The term free in Freemasons comes from and references a type of stone called freestone, which was used exclusively by skilled Masons, and freedom to travel to gain employment as stonemasons on different job sites. It's not meant to be free in a spiritual sense. That's not how it works. Oops. Sorry about that. Moved something wrong incorrectly. Well, thank you, Driska. Please hit like and subscribe. Oh, Stephen, with the low level nonsense. I am the highest level, which should mean highest degree within Freemasonry, which is the third degree, Master Mason. Stone builders, stone masons. Freemasonry evolved from stone masons, men who, as a profession, worked with stone. Yes, almost like the stonecutters from The Simpsons, that famous Simpsons episode that everybody loves so much, including me. I thought it was really cool. Um, I don't know, whatever you say. You'd have to ask each Mason. There is no like Masonic philosophy that every Mason has to abide by when it comes to these questions. Um, I would say, as a general rule, though, Freemasonry probably would lean towards free will. After all, part of being a Freemason, you have to join of your own free will and accord. So, by nature, we have to believe in free will because otherwise, if somebody was joining not of their free will, but of predetermination, it would be kind of against one of the Masonic tenets, which is everyone must join of their own free will and accord. Um, the 33rd degree is way, way, way overdone. Benton, Ozzy, John. I don't know where this obsession with 33rd degree comes, but it is not the highest degree within Freemasonry. If you want to argue it's the highest degree within Scottish Rite, okay, but that doesn't make it the highest degree within Freemasonry. Well, the algorithm seems to think that you like them, probably because you interact with them and leave comments on them. Matthew, this is a channel talking about Freemasonry and promoting the ways Freemasonry was and is relevant to the communities in which it's located. Currently got a bit of a stream marathon-ish happening. I got my cool Snuggie, so, keep myself comfortable. I got a background of the Leamington Masonic buildings carpet, which I really love. Chip, I don't know what you're talking about, but you need to calm down a bit as well. You're getting weird. Same thing with you, Chubby. So, Benton Lee and Aussie John, what is this weird obsession with the 33rd degree? I don't get it. Well, we shouldn't love crime, Sally Fourway, but thank you for being here. I was just in England last year in November. Beautiful country. I loved it. I was in England and Scotland, both beautiful places. Well, if you're a Satanist, I don't know, Tushan, if you would enjoy Freemasonry. I mean, I had one Satanist talk to me about joining Freemasonry once he found out what it was about. He decided he didn't want to join. I never give any specifics about rituals because it's not my place. They're like family recipes. What I will say is there's nothing illegal, immoral, or against one's civic or religious or familial responsibilities. Beyond that, they're meant to teach progressive lessons. Some would say moral lessons. I prefer ethical lessons that you can try to apply in your day-to-day life. NZ, I mean, I have no idea if Satan has power or not. Keep in mind, Freemasons don't worship Satan, nor is he ever really brought up in Masonic rituals. I mean, nor is he ever brought up in Masonic rituals, period. I did not experience a bonfire night. And I am not a turtle, traveling man, but I am comfortable in my Snuggie. Is it 420? I guess it is. I never realized. I never thought of that. Oh, Mulholland Drive is a great movie, and it's a scary movie. I don't care what anybody says, it's a horror film, and it's awesome. One of my favorites. I love it. I have no idea what a Baphomet hand symbol is to which you refer. I've been a Freemason for 20 years, just about. I never heard of Baphomet until I came on YouTube and started talking about Freemasonry. And then people told me Baphomet was involved with it. He's not. And there's no Baphomet hand symbols in any Freemasonry I've ever seen or been a part of. I mean, that's a very stoic approach to take, New Zealand gambler. I'd like to think that maybe in some ways we're not meant to be servants of nature, but rather to live in accordance with nature. Um, Freemasonry is not related to Christianity, Christ, Satan. Freemasonry is ultimately not a religion. It doesn't occupy that space. It may use religious stories, but it also uses architectural orders and Egyptian mysticism and Stoic philosophy and trade union kind of philosophies. Primarily what it uses is stone Masonic guilds. But it doesn't occupy the space of religion, whether it be Christ or Allah or Buddha or anything else. Um, I have no idea why sheep come up when you type in Christian. That's weird, Timothy, but I'm not a Christian myself, but I know many Christian Freemasons. Never saw the original. I know that's shocking because they say I love scary movies and I love Wes Craven. Never saw the original. Didn't mind the remake, but it's not one of my favorite horror movies. I actually kind of enjoyed The Hills Have Eyes Part 2. It was so silly. And sometimes I like silly horror films. Um, so I am not satanic, Ringo. I am not a satanic potato, nor a satanic vegetable of any sort. I don't really know what that means, Chip. I mean, I don't like to think of myself as having defects. I think of myself as being different. Um, James, I'll see if I can check it out and find it at some point. It'd be really fun, I think, to watch it. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of we're just going to be cruel for the sake of cruelty, which I think some of those films fall into the trap of. That includes like Last House on the Left, I Spit on Your Grave. I prefer the more, I mean, for lack of a better term, the fun horror films, like the Fridays, the Nightmares. They're like roller coaster rides, right? They're enjoyable in a sense because they don't wallow in misery. It's more the fun of the chase, the fun of seeing the good, the final girl or the final character, final protagonist overcoming the bad guy. Generally likable characters going up against one single kind of killer force is something fun. Leprechaun. I always suggest Leprechaun, the original with Jennifer Aniston, is a great movie if people want to get into scary movies and don't know where to start. I love the horror genre. It's one of my favorite things. Um, I reckon somebody like Freemasons. Timothy, I mean, Freemasonry started around 1717. The Bible way predates that, but let's not be making fun of anybody's holy books. Um, well, 99 degrees Aussie, that may be in the Memphis Mizraim rites, but I mean, this obsession with like degrees and how high the degrees are, it does get kind of silly. Again, the highest degree within Freemasonry is truly the third degree. There's no higher degree than that. People need to remember that. Unfortunately, this obsession with 33rd degree does not do anything to help Freemasonry and people completely misunderstand what it is. Um, Prince, 100% Prince. JG, I do like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, especially the third one starring Matthew McConaughey and Renee Zellweger. Doesn't get the love it deserves. Also really like the remake from 2003 starring Jessica Biel. Really good remake. So Harry, um, so when you say, or Herr Lindstrom, when you say From Hell, I mean, when I think of that movie, I think of Johnny Depp, and I love that movie. I loved it very, very much. I still love it. I think it's an incredible movie. Uh, I loved Halloween and Halloween 2 by Rob Zombie, the remake, and then the sequel to the remake. Both of them are really good and really underappreciated, in my humble opinion, and don't get near the love they deserve. Anybody joining us, please hit like, please hit subscribe, and consider a super chat. $2, you'll hear your super chat read out text to speech, which could be really fun. This is my Snuggie, and this was a gift from a friend, and it is super comfortable. So be nice about my wonderful, wonderful, comfortable cloak. Well, I mean, Freddy Krueger is the antagonist, whatever you say. One of the things, though, I think that makes the Nightmare films so great is the fact that of all the horror movies out there, they have, without question, the best protagonists by far. In my opinion, the greatest final girl of all time is Alice Johnson from Nightmares 4 and 5. But they're all great. Followed by Kristen from 3, followed by Heather from 1. After that, you can go look at your Sydneys and your Strodes. I've never seen 3 from Hell. No worries. I mean, I should have guessed that. I was never a huge fan of like the Rob Zombie films, except for his Halloween remakes, which I thought were incredible and really well done. So I mean, Aussie. So this background is the carpet at the Leamington Masonic building, which I love very much. Once again, please take a moment if you're just joining us to hit the like button and the subscribe button. I would really, really appreciate it. Oh, on I thought his take on the Halloween films were incredible. I have no idea where the carpet would have been made in Canada or the United States. Um, because this is from Leamington and this was put in the 1920s or 30s, probably, maybe 40s or 50s at the latest. So I suspect it would have been way too expensive to get carpet from China back in the day. Thank you for the stars. That's truly kind. Can you hit the super chat like button? Well, first you need to do a super chat and then I can hit it. If you do over $2, I will, or you'll hear the super chat read out text to speech. We're getting political here, so not political, excuse me, theological, and I am the worst person to give any type of theological advice. I have no idea if Jesus and Satan are the same God. I don't think they are. I'm pretty sure they're different entities. Stephen with the very strange troll. Do you have a favorite library? Best year? I love a lot of different libraries. I love the Glenview Public Library and I love the Windsor Public Library. I think they're both incredible. What do you make of those? Well, Aussie, what I'd say is they are wrong. They are incorrect. I think very often they are leading very sad lives, unhealthy lives, and are choosing, instead of focusing on their own lives and why they're so terrible and making changes to make them better, they are choosing to focus on, how they can harm others or push against something that is helpful to the world, like Freemasonry. It's a way to focus on their own, it's a way to not focus on their own lives and how to make their own lives better by inventing conspiratorial nonsense, or promoting um, promoting conspiratorial nonsense. Well, I'm not going to super chat you. That's not how it works. I'm on my stream asking people to super chat me. Um, I thought it was interesting, a Clockwork Orange. Obviously, there's some pretty valuable kind of philosophical ideas within it, right? Like, what is the role of society when dealing with people who do horrible acts? At what point does justice become retribution or vengeance? Is that healthy? Um, if you are able to remove the violent tendencies from people, you basically just made them a slave and taken away their creativity. A lot of different interesting ideas to it. Um, all right, Chip, you're going to get yourself in a timeout in a second. You're being weird. But I did really like it. Detroit, nice. I love Detroit. It's right across from me. I've never been to the Detroit Public Library, though. But public libraries in general are really good. One thing, again, I'll remind people, even if you don't plan to use your local library, get a library card if you can. It helps out big time with funding because they will see, like the municipality will see how many people have library cards and will be more likely to fund the library if they have more library card holders. Windsor, Ontario, that's right. Nice. I mean, it wouldn't make me feel one way or the other, Ozzy. You are welcome to. I mean, I'm not a Christian myself, but if you are a Christian, then I would expect you to have a belief, a firm belief that Jesus is the Son of God. Um, I mean, you're free to believe when it comes to religious kind of, you're free to believe whatever you want. Well, Windsor is an awesome city, an awesome town, one of the best places ever. Been here about 22 years, give or take, and loved all those 22 years. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of issues in Windsor that we're trying to deal with. I think Freemasonry can help deal with some of those issues, but I still love the city. Please, Mike, hit like, hit subscribe. I would truly appreciate it. Consider a super chat. I mean, you are welcome to pray for me, but keep in mind, if you're praying for me with the purpose of kind of conversion, I don't want you to get your hopes up. But that's not to say, like I said, I do appreciate people keeping me in their thoughts. So no, heroes of the faith, Freemasonry does not try to recruit. Freemasonry, in fact, has historically always been opposed to recruitment. That doesn't mean we won't talk about Freemasonry. We won't talk about how much we love it or why we love it or what we get from it. But if you want to join, that's completely up to you. We're not trying to recruit you, for example. What are some of the things that you learned being a Freemason? Well, there's two levels of knowledge, Sonny. There is level one is the things you learn that are relevant to or relevant within Freemasonry. And then there's the things you learn that you can apply outside of it. So for example, I'm going to use football as an example, Sunny one. If you become a football player, actually, I'm going to use professional wrestling because I took professional wrestling training, right? The first level is the things you learn that can be applied to being a professional wrestler, how to run the ropes properly, physical fitness, how to do a tackle drop down, how to do a power slam, how to fall, how to take a bump, right? Those are all level one. Within Freemasonry, you learn how to be a worshipful master, how to be a senior warden, how to be a junior warden. You learn the proper ways to conduct a candidate through a ceremony. You learn the verbiage of how to open a lodge and close a lodge. But then the second level is things that you can apply outside of it. From professional wrestling, by taking part in professional wrestling training, you can learn about things like dedication, hard work, working together with somebody else, trusting somebody, being respectful of the trust somebody shows in you, the importance of breath as a way to calm yourself down, the importance of breath as a way to not get blown up. Within Freemasonry, it's the same thing. You learn about the value of dedication, universality, working with other people, working with people with different political beliefs and religious beliefs, charity, why charity can help a community. You learn about how to organize and run meetings and special events, right? If you have a job where you have to, for example, work in a team, being a Freemason is going to absolutely help you with that, because to be a Freemason, you need to be able to work in a team to maintain a lodge meeting effectively. So yeah, those are just some of the things. So there's those two levels. There's the practical levels, how to be a Freemason, and then there's the way that those lessons can apply to the world at large. Toby, you need to stop trolling. You can hit the like and subscribe button, but do not troll. Sunny, did what I say make sense? I hope it did. So Junko, Freemasonry is not a cult. Freemasonry is a civic group or a civic institution, no different than any other club or group. It could be the Elks, could be the Moose. It's just Freemasonry is much older and much more traditional. And it's the thing that speaks to me more so than anything else. You don't have to swear blood oaths. And why is Albert Pike relevant? I'm in Canada. Albert Pike was in the Southern Masonic jurisdiction, I think in Nebraska. Why is he relevant to my Masonic journey? We need to stop this obsession with Albert Pike. People are completely misunderstanding where he fits into Freemasonry and where he fits into this journey of what it means to be a Freemason. It is not a cult by definition. In fact, it's the opposite of a cult. A cult, the purpose is to isolate an individual member from the outside world. Freemasonry does not seek to isolate anyone from the outside world, be it their friends, their family, their work. Cults venerate ideologies or individuals. Freemasonry is democratic. in both its ideas and its leadership. Um, and so it is not a cult. Um, well, fear can be a healthy thing so long as you are using it in a healthy manner, right? If you're in the woods and you think there might be a bear around you, fear is probably a very useful tool to recognize danger. It's how you act, though. And acting with temperance and with calmness is actually something that you learn about in Freemasonry. How to not act rash in a rash manner, because that can be dangerous. Um, well, that's almost every expert's definition of a cult based on what I've seen. I mean, it was a fraternity, but there is NZ Gambler now Freemasonry for women. There's the Order of Women Freemasons. There's Eastern Star as well. There's even Rainbow, which is for young women. So, no, Freemasonry is no longer exclusively a cult. AIB, I mean, I think most Freemasons, if they are of a particular religion, tend to be monotheistic, but there are some who may believe in multiple or maybe polytheistic. Wouldn't shock me. Who makes the rules? Well, there is no, Freemasonry is decentralized. There is no single governing body, quote unquote, making the rules. In Ontario, the rules are made by the Grand Lodge of Canada, the province of Ontario. Every year they have an annual communication where they get together and have more discussions and more talking points when it comes to like changes to the laws or the rules of being a Freemason. In Manitoba, it will be the Grand Lodge of Manitoba. In England, United Grand Lodge of England. There is no single governing body responsible for making the rules for Freemasonry, um, worldwide. And that's something that I think the biggest misconception about Freemasonry that exists is that people have this weird idea that Freemasonry, there's a single governing body setting up the rules, and that's just not how it works. Um, but they don't have to. I mean, religion, Timothy, is a matter of faith more so than anything else. It's not about proving anything. Um, Toby, go see a doctor. Little doggy dog. I mean, again, if you're Christian, then certainly you'll believe that. Never sworn a blood oath in my life. Keep in mind what you're saying or what you're seeing might not be legitimate. You need to remember that. It could be clandestine, right? I wouldn't swear a blood oath because swearing a blood oath would be, amongst anything else, very unhygienic. I have no interest in sharing my blood with anybody, literally or metaphorically for that matter. Chubby, you're going to get yourself banned if you're not careful. So Ollie Grant, the discussion of religion within a Masonic lodge is banned, as is the discussion of politics. It doesn't mean Masons won't discuss it outside. Freemasonry is not a faith-based organization. You could argue, again, to be a Freemason, you need to believe in a supreme being, but that definition is so broad, you wouldn't call it a faith-based organization. For example, a lot of people would consider me an atheist. I've said before, my supreme being is the rational nature of the universe as expressed through geometry. So that's not really a particular faith as people think of it, right? Um, GTM, men and women are equally smart. Let's have no misogyny on this channel. Thank you very much. Um, you swear oaths on the penalty of death if you expose the secrets of Freemasonry, true or false. We swear oaths. I never give specifics, but here's what I will say. There are metaphorical penalties brought up in a Masonic oath, never literal penalties, right? It's all metaphorical, not literal. The example I've used in the past, and I'll use it again, when I worked in a legal aid clinic, one of the things I dealt with a lot was landlord-tenant issues. And being with the landlord-tenant issue, we were working with this one lady who, once upon a time, she was getting evicted from her home. And she claimed to she paid the rent. The landlord claimed she didn't. She was going to court. And she said at one point during this stream, during our discussion with her, she said, if I'm lying, I'll rip my tongue out and may God strike me dead. Obviously, she didn't mean it literally. She was not expecting to rip her tongue out, nor did she expect God to send a lightning bolt down and kill her. She was saying it because she wanted to express how important it was that she be believed, or that we believe her, and the seriousness by which she took what she was saying. Within Freemasonry, there are no, if you expose all the secrets, you're not going to be killed, you're not going to be harmed. They've been exposed a million times over. They are traditional, not even traditional. They are metaphorical, not literal. If they were literal, then there'd be a lot of dead people out there, a lot of hurt people, because, there's a lot of secrets been exposed. But keep in mind, not every secret that's exposed is legitimate. So the point is, it's metaphorical. It's not literal. We don't practice black magic. We don't practice magic of any sort. Freemasonry are not magicians, although Harry Houdini was a Freemason. I'll take it. Most people say I'm ugly, so if I look like Corey Taylor, I will take it. Nobody does. Nobody takes anything. Nobody should take these things literally. Never heard of anybody taking them literally, because they are told, right? One of the things you're told is this is metaphorical, not literal. Probably not, because it's Masonic carpet, but maybe your non got it. That would be cool. It's my favorite thing within a Masonic lodge. The idea of geometry. Sorry, I'm not sure what you mean by that, Ollie Grant. You wouldn't really have theological discussions in a lodge, right? Because theological discussions would be religious. Like, you could discuss and use symbols from different holy books or different rituals or religions, but it's meant to be, again, metaphorical, not literal, not literally true, metaphorically true. So, for example, within Freemasonry, there's a lot of discussion around architectural orders and the idea of pillars, but those pillars are meant to represent, on our side, they're meant to represent, they're metaphors for attributes like wisdom, strength, and beauty, right? So we talk about a column, for example, we may be talking about wisdom or strength or beauty, not the literal column itself, but rather it's meant to represent something else. Again, any discussion around penalties is meant to represent the importance of what's being said, not literal penalties. It's symbolism. I would argue it's symbolism to describe ethics. A lot of Masons, though, and even many Masonic kind of rituals would say it's symbolism to describe morals. I think ethics is the better term to describe it. So Sunny 1, so there's a hierarchy in Freemasonry. How do you get to be? Well, you shouldn't join Freemasonry necessarily get to leader status. You should join to be of service. In fact, though, even if you are going to be a leader, you should still want to be a leader of service to others, not simply to lead for your own ego. There's many different types of leadership within Freemasonry. You can become the worshipful master of your lodge, which in my opinion is the highest type of leadership you can have. You can try to be a Grand Lodge officer, but also keep in mind, Sonny, Freemasonry does not have a single global leadership, right? That's one of the biggest mistakes people make when they're thinking about Freemasonry. The highest example I could get to would be the Grand Master in Ontario. That would set the rules for Masons in Ontario. It would not have any jurisdiction in Manitoba. And if I was in Manitoba, I would not have jurisdiction in Texas. There's different jurisdictions. Each one has a leadership structure, but they don't apply outside of that particular jurisdiction. Nobody has executions. We're not executing anybody within Freemasonry for a variety of reasons, including it would be illegal and immoral to be executing anyone. Um, there's a lot of different ways to be a leader. But by the way, one of the ways that you can be a leader as an entered apprentice, show up early, pay your dues early, help clean the lodge, help prepare the food, help the junior warden. That's showing leadership in the lodge. And at that point, you are simply the first level, first degree of Freemasonry. You don't need to wait to be a master mason to be a leader. You don't need to wait to be a worshipful master to be a leader. You can be a leader right from the very beginning. In fact, in some ways, leadership from a entered apprentice can be more impactful than leadership from a right worshipful. Hello, Dan Taylor. Please hit like and subscribe. Well, I mean, when they're eating together, you know, when you're eating together, you're not going to be in a lodge meeting anymore. You're going to be at what's called refreshment, Ollie. Um, and because of that, you can discuss religion or politics. It's only when a lodge is in labor or at work that you can't discuss those things. So if you're eating, you will technically be in refreshment, and you can. Although as a general rule, you'd probably be encouraged not to, because we don't want, hard feelings to develop over political differences. But it's possible to discuss those things. I mean, I think that there's some Jungian elements to Freemasonry, sure. I mean, Freemasonry highlight, will always highlight kind of symbolism and symbolic growth. And certainly I think Jung did the same thing, although I don't know a ton about Carl Jung, so it's tough for me to say precisely how much of Freemasonry parallels what Jung believed. I mean, Carl Jung, oops. When was he around? So 1875 to 1961. Wow, he was around a lot longer than I thought he was, or a lot more recently than I thought he was. Well, I mean, the extent to which you want to view Freemasonry as spiritual, I mean, I've always been one who shies away from spirituality in general across the board. There are certainly some Freemasons who I've seen and met who talk about Freemasonry in a very spiritual light and a very spiritual way. And certainly for them, again, it wouldn't be a religion, but they would have a spiritual understanding of it. And I've heard musicians talk about music with very spiritual sense, and I've heard, people who love movies talk about movies with a spiritual kind of flair. I think it's human nature to sometimes take the things we love and have a spiritual sense of them. It's something I avoid, though, because I'm not one for spiritualism. As a general rule, I think it creates more problems than it's worth. Royalty, please hit like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Everybody else watching this, please hit like and subscribe. I would really appreciate that as well. And any thoughts you have on Freemasonry, please let me know. What is symbolic growth if not spiritual? I mean, I think symbolic growth I don't like the term symbolic growth. It's just growth, right? Like if I grow, if I grow in my charitable actions, that's not symbolic, that's just literal growth, right? If I grow in temperance, if I grow in kindness, if I grow in patience, right? All of those things are by their nature not symbolic growth, but literal growth. You can say you can apply, like the rough ashlar to the perfect ashlar. That's a symbol of practical growth. It's not a symbol of symbolic growth. The growth is practical. The representation is symbolic. No, loyalty is royalty. No, Freemasons worship the devil because Freemasonry is not a system of worship. It's not a religion, right? So, is it possible that there's satanic Masons? I suppose. Never met any. It doesn't seem to me, based on what I understand, the type of thing that a Satanist would wish to join. But what do I know? Other than the fact I've been a Mason for 20 years, never met a single quote unquote satanic Freemason, which I think should tell us something. So, why do you think that we all worship the devil? Loyalty, royalty. That's a hard name to say. Please hit like, please hit subscribe, by the way. If you're new to the channel, I'd really appreciate it. So pretty witty. There is what you're talking about, the Masonic Bible. It's not a Bible that's unique to Freemasonry. It's honestly the King James version of the Bible. It just has a square and compass on the front of it, and it has a place for people to sign on the inside. And it's given as a gift to new Masons if they are of that particular faith. If they're Muslim, obviously it's not going to be given to them. They'll get a different gift. But the Masonic Bible is simply the King James version of the Bible. So, it doesn't have any special, like, Masonic sections that no one else has, or Masonic books or anything like that. Sometimes it has illustrations in it of, like, King Solomon's temple, because Solomon is an important figure within Freemasonry. But, it's not a Bible that's like a different type of Bible than the one that, than the King James version. Yeah, I agree with that, Richard. It's unfortunate. Get a library card. Even if you don't plan to ever use it, you might be surprised. Get a library card. It helps libraries get funding, and it's very valuable to have. Also, if you want to, use free streaming services, most libraries have deals with streaming services. Like here in Windsor, if you have a library card, you can get the Hoopla service or Kanopy service, Kanopy, both of which you will get some very cool and some very awesome streaming capabilities. I rented recently Stay Alive. I love scary movies. That's a great one. So the Statue of Liberty is not a Lucifer statue. It's the Statue of Liberty. Yes, it was designed by a Freemason. I think it was also painted by a Freemason or built by a Freemason. Which level am I? Loyalty, you don't want to think about it in terms of levels. That's the wrong way to think about Freemasonry. It's degrees and it's offices. I am a third degree Master Mason, which is the highest degree within Freemasonry. I'm also 18th degree Scottish Rite. I'm also have the office of Worshipful Master of the Lodge. I don't know if it was painted or if that's just the color of the metal. I think when I said painter, I meant the engineer who built it was a Freemason. Although having said that, it may have been painted. I don't know if that's the original metal color, if it was painted. But either the engineer or there were a lot of Masons involved with the Statue of Liberty, put it that way. There was a lot of Masons involved with the Statue of Liberty. United States, I think you're threatening to hurt people, which you should never do. I don't care if they're Masons or otherwise. No, Mark, the Grand Wizard, has nothing to do with Freemasonry. That's a completely separate organization. Okay, so then it wasn't painted. It was just engineered. The designer and the engineer, I believe, were both themselves Freemasons. It is not a statue of Lucifer. Whoa, United States, you need to calm down a bit here. So the Statue of Liberty represents Libertas, the Roman goddess of freedom, designed by Frederick August Bartholdi, who was a Freemason himself, at least to my knowledge. No, Freemasons do not believe that God is Lucifer. Every Freemason has his own beliefs about supreme being. They may be Christian, Muslim, Jewish, Hindu, Sikh, but they do not believe that Lucifer is a god or God. Loyalty, why do you ask the question about levels? And what does it mean? What are the different levels of Freemasonry? My suspicion is you don't understand. You're the one who came onto my stream, United States National. I'm not on your stream. So I don't know what you're talking about, but why don't you get the F out? What is the highest level? How about that? I am a 3rd degree Master Mason. I'm also 18th degree Scottish Rite. I'm also Worshipful Master of my lodge. And I'm proud of all of those things. My suspicion is, Loyalty, based on what you said, you don't know what you're talking about, and you're going to claim the highest degree is the 33rd degree, which it's not, and it shows a misunderstanding of what Freemasonry is. Well, Lucifer, I mean, if you view him as Satan, I don't know why he'd have a chain on his foot, or the light bringer as a separate entity, but that's a theological question. Mando, I'm not sure what Black Nobility member means. I don't know if you mean Prince Hall Freemasonry. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Prince Hall is a very cool and very vital part of our Masonic family, that's for sure. Oh, there's the question. First of all, 33 is not a level, it's a degree. And it's a degree in the Scottish Rite, which is an appendant body of Freemasonry, not Freemasonry itself, simply one of the appendant bodies, no different than a potentate or a Knights Templar. But no, I'm not a 33rd degree. I'm not really interested in going beyond 18th degree in Scottish Rite. Absolutely, as whatever you say is. Statue of Liberty is not satanic. It is a she. It is Libertas, the Roman goddess of freedom. Well, it depends who you ask, some dude. I'm not a theological expert. There are some Luciferians, and it may have been that Albert Pike was one of them, though I think he was. The evidence is clear. They viewed them as separate entities. Lucifer, the serpent in the garden, is not Satan, but rather kind of a Prometheus type figure. Apparently, the original Hebrew, they don't refer to the serpent as Satan. Satan is the fallen angel. However, I'm not a Christian, so I'm kind of speaking about things outside of my deep knowledge. It is an interesting idea, but I would not be a Christian anyways, right? I believe in a supreme being, but I'm not necessarily Christian or of any particular religious belief or faith. Well, they can't because the 33rd has no power, control, financial or otherwise over Craft Lodge. These are separate organizations. That's the thing you don't understand. Loyalty is royalty. This weird obsession with the 33rd degree has got to stop. It's probably the biggest misunderstanding anybody has about Freemasonry. 33rd, it's an honorary degree in Scottish Rite. They don't have financial, political, or any other type of control over a craft lodge or the grand lodges within the jurisdictions. Well, John, so that would be Lucifer / Satan. Some people argue the serpent is a different entity. Why am I not interested in going? Because I'm, Jim, my focus is on this channel. My focus is on growing the craft lodges. I think, unfortunately, what we're seeing right now within Freemasonry, and it's very sad, is a lot of craft lodges are struggling to maintain their membership, and the members they do have are spending more time in concordant bodies and appendant bodies than the craft lodges themselves, which is leading to the craft lodges dying out, which sooner or later ends up leading to the concordant bodies dying out, right? It's kind of like if you're not focused on keeping your mother lodge and your boo lodge afloat, Scottish Rite isn't going to be there much longer. So that is why my focus is on doing what I can while I'm here to help create stronger Freemasonry. I exist. I mean, I don't know what you mean by I exist because I exist. No, 33rd does not have the ultimate knowledge. There is no single order body that has the ultimate knowledge. Freemasonry is decentralized. There is no single governing body or single order that controls the knowledge of Freemasonry. It's different orders within different parts of the family, but no one is superior to any other. Um, No idea, Mandoline, what you're talking about, but there is no Black Snake members I've ever heard of. Whatever you say, I try my best. I don't always succeed. Yes, Jenny Clevenger. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Yes, Jenny, there is the Order of Women Freemasons. They're primarily out of England, but they are also within various parts of North America, including Ontario. There's Eastern Star, which is for men and women, and there is Order of Rainbow, which is for young women, ages 9 to 21, if I recall correctly. Please hit like, please hit subscribe. I would be truly grateful. Um, we don't worship the devil, royalty. Um, United States, talk to me. Don't talk to other people on the stream. That's how you get yourself timed out. Well, I mean, I think the problem is people have kind of known, or at least acted as though Freemasonry is not relevant in today's world. And I think that's a shame. I think it is still relevant. I think people don't realize how relevant it is. But I also think it has declined in relevance greatly. And I think that's really, really scary. Because I think a world in which Freemasonry is relevant is a better world. And so maybe through this channel, I can help make Freemasonry relevant once again. That would be my goal, anyways. Jenny, I hope you'll hit like and subscribe, and welcome. Thank you for being here. I might get rid of them soon. Whatever you say, we'll see, but I might get rid of them soon. It's unfortunate, but interesting enough, no 61%, yes 39%. So there you go. We're doing a little bit better than we thought we would. Still, I wish the yeses were the majority, but that's okay. I don't know what MFGA means. Interesting, Jeremy. I've never heard of that before. So, I mean, is it in any books that I could find? It'd be fun to learn more about it, especially if it's coming up on my stream. I don't know if that means people are confusing Freemasonry with Order of Black Serpent. Well, I'm happy I pronounced your name correctly. One of the hardest things about being on this stream is when people come in with names and I pronounce them incorrectly and I feel bad. But your name isn't honestly that tough to pronounce. It's pretty relatively simple to pronounce, but I'm still glad I got it right. So thank you for being here. Did you just find the stream? Like, did the algorithm send you here? Were you searching for stuff about Freemasonry? Oof, 450 is a lot. Samantha, welcome. Thank you for being here. I hope you're doing well. As always, thank you for joining. All right, I was really enjoying this comfortable Snuggie, but it's getting kind of hot. So I'm going to be, I think, getting out of this Snuggie into my more not quite so warm sweatshirt. It was cold all day today, but cool. Well, I'm glad that you're here. Thank you to the YouTube algorithm for encouraging people to check out my content. Oof. Do you have any other questions about Freemasonry? Positive, negative, or neutral? I'll do my best to answer. I can't promise I'll be able to answer everything, but I'll do my best. So I've never met any Satanists who are Freemasons, or Freemasons who are Satanists. So none of those things are facts. That's all a bunch of baloney. Okay, well, Rosicrucianism is a separate order, but there are overlaps between the two, right? I don't know as much about Rosicrucianism really to speak on it, but I have been a Freemason for just about 20 years here in Ontario. I'm also a member of a lodge in Texas and Israel. Um, all right, United States. We're going to put you in a timeout in a second. At least I'm on here trying my best to make the world a better place. You just seem to be trying to make my life more miserable and threatening me as well, which you need to come down with that also. Yeah, United States National is a cranky dude leading a not good life. All right. Hopefully, you find a way to be happier. I don't think you will, but we'll see. It's called Freemasonry because it references a type of stone called freestone, which was a type of stone used by particularly skilled masons to build with. Or it meant freedom to travel, freedom to move from job site to job site and from place to place. Um, so it meant one of those two things. Right? It was about freedom of travel, freedom of movement. I agree, Jenny. I think we need more of that as well. And I'm grateful for the opportunities to try to build up my brothers. And also, we build up the community. We do a lot of things to help make the community better. Or by building up our brothers, we build up the community, right? By making each other strong, we can therefore make the community strong. Um, I have no idea what 16 carriages I gave them all away and watched them all get a plate means. I do not know that song. I used to love the song by Beyonce, Crazy in Love. I used to be addicted to that song. I thought it was so good. Um, my thoughts on Buddha? I don't know enough about Buddha to say. I mean, seems like a pretty reasonable religious set of beliefs based on what I've seen. um, Kind of the emphasis on personal contentment and, or not contentment, but peace. It seems to be the primary, from what I understand, the primary emphasis of Buddhist philosophy, which is a pretty healthy approach, I think, to take. Pretty witty. I mean, to be one, ask one. So you've asked one. You need to find a Masonic lodge within your area, one that has, you can usually do that by Google. Find a Masonic lodge in your area and contact them. You can contact them via email, you can write them a letter, give them a call, or just knock on the door and express your interest in joining. That's the first step you need to take. After that, there's an application process, which can take a little while, but that is your first step. So, um, just go approach them, express your interest in joining, go from there. Freemasonry has nothing to do with Saturn. Well, you're on YouTube, which is from America, in fairness. Um, I have no idea what Satanists are in terms of their rituals, so I can't speak to satanic rituals. What I can speak to is the places from which Freemasonry derives its rituals. It predates Satanism, and it borrows or developed its rituals from a variety of different sources, none of which are satanic. Um, and Freemasons are not all about deception. In fact, I would argue if there's more Freemasonry in the world, there'd be less deception in the world. Because Freemasons are meant to be good men and honorable, to be or just good and honorable. If you count Order of Women Freemasons, for example, to deceive would be the opposite of that. Um, awesome, Jenny. My dad and both my grandfathers were Freemasons as well, so that's a cool connection. Um, to everybody who's watching this, please take a moment, hit like and subscribe. I also hope you will consider Super Chat. $2 to hear your Super Chat read text to speech. Um, and I hope you like the carpet behind me. It's Masonic carpet. The first King of England? I mean, the first King of England would have been well before Freemasonry. Um, it would have been from the Norman conquest, right? It would have been, I used to know this, 1066. It would have been, well, I guess Athelstan, who reigned from 924 to 939. So he way predated Freemasonry. We know, for example, that the king from the King's Speech, I can't think of his name now, he was a Freemason, as was his speech therapist. Queen Elizabeth's husband was a Freemason as well. We know that. He was a member of the Naval Lodge. But yeah, the first king would have way predated it. Is there a star? Oh, yeah, right. Oh, right there. I mean, the Star of David, you see it a lot in Eastern Star symbolism as well. It's primarily a symbol within the Eastern Star, more so than within Freemasonry. If that is, hold on just one second. Oops. It's got 5 points meant to represent 5 virtues. Well, it's got 5 points meant to represent. I always forget what they are. It's got 5 points meant to represent 5 women of the Bible, and each of those women a particular virtue. It was like Ruth, Esther, Martha. I can't think of them now, and each one had a particular uh, view to it, because that's a 5 pointed star, right? Not a 6. So that would be more related to Eastern Star. Although the Star of David, the 6 pointed star, often referred to as the Seal of Solomon, right? And Solomon is a very important figure within Freemasonry. So without a doubt, anything that references King Solomon is going to be considered important within Freemasonry. This here would be representative of King Solomon's temple. Um, What is co-Freemasonry? Lucas focused or laser focused? Please hit like and subscribe. Co-Masonry is primarily out of the Grand Orient, which is in France. It's Freemasonry for men and women. It's not recognized in many Masonic bodies outside of France, but it has a very long history. A very long history. I mean, I don't know how secretive we are. Here I am talking about Freemasonry, so how secretive could it be, JC? There are reason that we keep certain things private within Freemasonry is because it's like a family recipe. If your grandmother passed on a recipe to your father, passes it down to you, you pass it down to your kids, at some point, it doesn't belong to just you, it belongs to the whole family, and it's not yours to give out. You can give out the results of the recipe, you could bake cookies for the local fair, but you can't give out the recipe because it belongs to the whole family. Our Masonic rituals belong to the whole family. Because they belong to the whole family, we have a responsibility to maintain their privacy as a way to maintain the bonds between brothers. Um, Again, there is no 33rd level. That's not what it's about. Freemasonry, the highest degree in Freemasonry is the 3rd degree. The 33rd degree is an honorary degree. It doesn't give you any more truth about Freemasonry than the potentate, than the Knights Templar, or than the 3rd degree. It gives you different information, but not something more true than 3rd degrees. Um, Hello, Retry Nation. Thank you for being here. Well, I mean, it's a metaphor. It's not literal, right? For example, if somebody were to come in and say that they believe the Temple of Solomon literally existed as a temple because the Bible says so, that's their right. If somebody else believes the temple did not exist, like me, I don't think it existed. I think it's just a legend. That's fine. If somebody, right, you can take it either way. You can either take it to be a literal truth or a representative truth, but we're not going to discuss what you believe about it in the lodge. We're simply going to say this can provide some symbolism that can help you lead a good life. It's no different than, for example, the book like Moby Dick, right? There's a lot of valuable lessons in there that people can use to lead a good life. That doesn't mean everybody will, it's literally true. Some people may think the Bible is true, others may think it's simply a story from which you can derive ethical lessons. Both are equally valid within Freemasonry. Um, if this is kind of like the Stonecutters, please hit like and subscribe. That is every Freemason's favorite Simpsons episode, that's for sure. I have no idea, Jeremy. I've never seen that. Keep in mind, though, Freemasonry, they have different rituals in different jurisdictions. I've never seen this hammer ritual of which you speak, though. I mean, the corners, right? There is within Freemasonry a cornerstone where we do rituals. Um, no, I can talk about whatever I want. There are things I choose not to talk about, but I'm not going to be requesting permission. Um, right? There are things I will choose not to talk about because I'm respectful of our traditions and our family recipe, if you will. But that's not to say that's not the same thing as requesting permission. Um, I've heard that a whole bunch. And I mean, a cornerstone is not exclusive to this idea of Jesus, right? A cornerstone was simply the first stone placed when you're building a structure. It was kind of the starting point. It's symbolic of the starting point. Wonders, some of them are, some of them might not be. I don't see every comment, Wonder Bucket. Please hit like though, and please hit subscribe. I would be much obliged. And let me know if you have any thoughts on Freemasonry. Are you seeking, I mean, we don't seek membership per se. We don't really recruit for better or worse. We want people to come of their own free will and accord. Like this channel, it's not me recruiting people into Freemasonry. It's me talking about how much I love Freemasonry. And if other people decide based on that they want to join, I think that's awesome. If they decide they don't, that's okay too. If they want to support this channel but not a Masonic lodge, that's okay as well. But normally it's simply we talk, to the extent that we do talk about or recruit, it's really just Masons talking about what they love about Freemasonry and hoping others will find it interesting and take that first step and approach of their own free will and accord. Yeah, Jeremy, I've won from my grandfather. Won what? I'm not sure. Freemasonry is not directly against Jesus. We have many Freemasons who are Christian. In fact, I knew a couple priest Freemasons. Well, they were Freemasons, and as a profession, they were leaders of churches. Have I been shown incredibly great things? I mean, laser focus, I'm not really sure what that means. I mean, I think it's given me a better understanding of how to exist as a good neighbor, a good friend, a good brother, more so than anything else. I mean, I do think, though, Freemasonry encourages a deeper understanding of the universe, right? Its emphasis on, for example, geometry is incredibly valuable to understand deeper, to have deeper understandings of the universe. I think that's one of the greatest strengths. Um, you can leave at any point in time, whether you find what you're looking for or not. Many people choose to leave Freemasonry. Um, it's kind of the nature of because we're not a cult. You can leave whenever you want to, right? So yeah. Well, you'd have to ask each Freemason. I would say, certainly as a general rule, Freemasons would believe in the Ten Commandments. Certainly, kind of the big seven, right? Honor your mother and father, don't steal, don't murder. I mean, the other more religious ones, like I am thy Lord God, you shall have no other gods but me. That one, maybe if you're not a Christian, you might not. Certainly, every Freemason, though, as a rule, would believe in any commandment that encourages good behavior and being honorable. If you're a Christian Freemason, then obviously you will have a more religious or spiritual connection to those commandments. But if you're Muslim, I'm sure you'll still see the value in them, or Jewish, or like me, right? Not Christian, not really have a religious faith. I can definitely see the value of them. Chaos, well, that's a political statement. Freemasonry is not political, but thank you for being here. Please hit like, please hit subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And I hope you're having an excellent day. Twinkle, Twinkle, please hit like and subscribe as well. I would very much appreciate it, and I hope you're having an excellent day or night. Hello, Addie Babio. Sunny, no worries. If you want to catch my next live stream, one thing you need to make sure you do is not just hit like and subscribe, but also turn on your notification bell, because that way, whenever I go on to stream, you will get a notification, and you're not going to miss anything. So consider hitting that notification bell. Thank you, Twinkle, Twinkle. I appreciate that. I mean, unfortunately, for better or worse, we are human beings, and what that means is, yeah, not every Freemason is going to be a good person, just like not every plumber is going to be a good person. It's kind of nature. But I think if you are a Freemason and you're living in accordance, with Masonic ethics, are more likely to be good people. Thank you, Ada. This is from the Leamington Masonic building, Leamington Masonic Temple, one of my favorite places in the world. It's a really cool building, and it's got this beautiful, beautiful Masonic carpet that I love. So I figured, why not show it off, you know? I agree. If you find it beautiful, please hit the like and subscribe button. And let me know, do you have, by the way, a library card? You're going to find out why I'm asking about that in just 1 second. That is very cool, Jeremy. It's nice to get things left over from your grandparents. I've always said, though, if you are, if you have a bunch of Masonic items, it's a nice thing to let your executor know which of those items you want to be returned to your family, and which of those items you'd like the Masonic Lodge. And if you find any of those items, you don't have to return them; they're yours. But it's a nice thing to do, to return them to the Masonic Lodge that's closest, because they may want to have them back. Never been to SLC, Utah. I once went through Utah on a train, and I loved it, but it was a beautiful state. I don't agree with that. I think libraries are valuable to anybody within a community, rich or poor. I think communities are better when you have libraries, because they don't just provide books, they provide services as well. Glenview, Windsor, these provide incredible, like I said, not simply books, but services to the community. They hold special events, tastings, food courses, childcare courses, study rooms. They provide a great deal. Well, I love libraries as well. Libraries are absolutely one of my favorite things in the world. And in fact, this is National Library Week. If you can do so, I'm going to encourage everybody, get yourself a library card. Even if you don't plan to ever use it, the more library card holders are out there, the better the library looks, which means they're more likely to get more funding from the local community. And also, one of the beautiful things about that is, you don't just need to use the library physically. Many libraries now have deals with streaming services like Hoopla, for example, or Kanopy, and you can actually use your library card to rent movies, videos, audiobooks through streaming services completely for free. So they have that for Glenview and Windsor, even the Brownwood Library. One of the coolest things I remember, and I loved it, is um, I was flying to Columbia from Chicago. We had a stopover in Fort Lauderdale, and one of the things they did for people getting or taking layovers, I thought it was really, really cool, was you could actually sign up for the Brownwood County Library and digitally rent movies to watch during your layover, or audiobooks, or digital books. So I loved that. I thought it was awesome. Yes, libraries are amazing. What if someone wants to give away their family recipes to everyone for free? Isn't that a great thing to do? I don't think it is because A, you're giving away something that doesn't belong to you, so it's not fair to everybody else. But B, you are damaging the bonds between the family members because you're going to feel less connected to your grandmother, right? Less connected to the rest of your family because now everybody has it. So no. And if you feel less connected to the people around you and your family, it doesn't mean you feel more connected with other people. It just means you feel less connected to the world. And then you're less inclined to help those around you. Laser, I'm not sure what Fells is. Alan, I'm not sure what Stop the Cat means, but thank you for being here nonetheless. The reason I have this question, do you have a library card, is because today is part of, let's see if I can find it now. Oh, shoot, I don't have it. Maybe I do. No, I don't. Okay, we're gonna have to just go back to this one for the time being. International Library Week 2026. I think that is just in the States, so it may be in Canada as well. And so I did want to mention 10 Masonic libraries um, around the world that if you get the chance to visit, I think you guys should. There's the Library and Museum of Freemasonry in London, located within the United Grand Lodge of England at Freemasons Hall. It's one of the world's finest collections of Masonic artifacts, books, and archives. The Iowa Masonic Library and Museum, Cedar Rapids, Iowa, USA, opened in 1884. First building specifically constructed to serve as a Masonic library. It is regarded as one of the best research facilities, holding over 150,000 volumes. Gorden-Williams Library and Archives in Lexington, Massachusetts, located at the Scottish Rite Masonic Museum and Library. This is one of the premier repositories in the US, featuring over 60,000 books and extensive archival materials. There's the Chancellor Robert R. Livingston Masonic Library in New York. Housed in the Grand Lodge of New York, it contains over 60,000 volumes and 50,000 artifacts, making it a major center for research. There's the Masonic, we're going to get to that. There's the Masonic Library and Museum of Pennsylvania, located within the Philadelphia Masonic Temple. This library holds a massive collection, including a book printed in 1489. There's House of the Temple Library, Washington, D.C., headquarters of the Scottish Rite Southern Jurisdiction. It holds a massive collection of Masonic esoterics and rare books, including a Robert Burns library. There's the Grand Lodge of Scotland Library and Museum, located in the Freemasons Hall in Edinburgh. It houses an extensive collection related to Scottish Masonry and its history. Grand Lodge of Ireland Museum in Dublin, Ireland. Situated in Molesworth Street, it holds a valuable collection of Irish Masonic documents, jewels, and books. There's the Michigan Masonic Museum and Library, Grand Rapids. known for its large collection of rare books and archival materials, including those from the collection of James Fairbairn Smith. There's the Grand Lodge Library Museum Historical Foundation. Located in Richmond, the library specializes in Virginia's Masonic history, maintaining roughly 8,000 volumes and extensive genealogical records. I was in Scotland, Jenny. It was absolutely awesome. Other highly regarded libraries are the George Washington Masonic National Memorial, the Grand Lodge of Canada in Ontario, and the Archives of Coronati Lodge in London, UK. A premier research lodge. I've actually talked to them a few times. I think we as Freemasons have a ton of incredible Masonic authors, both past and present. Present, I would say Gene Lotz, Chris Hodap are just two examples of it. Bizak is another one, John Bizak, who I've talked about on this channel before. And I think it's worth us as Freemasons not simply focusing on, for example, having connections with Masonic libraries, but having connections with our local libraries. To be a Freemason is to be part of the community. It is to be, for lack of a better term, neighborly. Having a library card is an example of being neighborly. However, it also means maybe talk to your local library and organize a book drive of Masonic books. See if you can't create a section in your library that is specifically about Freemasonry. Maybe even local Masonic lodges, right? Like, consider showing off some of your records in the library. Most Masonic buildings will have a small library, even if it's just a couple bookshelves, where they'll have, Mackey's Encyclopedia of Freemasonry. They may have Freemasonry for Dummies, Bizak's books. They may have Grand Lodge proceedings. If they're old enough, 100 years or older, why not see if the local library will display them? We have a local author in Windsor, Gene Lotz, who's written a ton of stuff about Freemasonry in Windsor. Why not see if the library will show off his works? Create those connections. Usually, and very often, libraries also have local records of newspapers. Believe me, if you go studying in those newspapers, you can find some incredibly cool stuff about Freemasonry. I've actually done some research myself on that microfilm. It's amazing. Believe me, check it out if you can. My point is, though, it's National Library Week. Let's consider how we as Freemasons can develop better relationships with our local libraries, both to be good community members, but also to create some connections between the two. I don't know what the left-hand path or the right-hand path is. I'd like to think my path is neither the left nor the right, but is relatively straightforward. I don't want to go too far one way or the other from kind of moderation, I think is a valuable thing. So usually not, although there are exceptions, and this is something I've also argued for in the past, Jeremy, is that Masonic lodges should find a way to open their archives, depending on how old they are, open up especially their historical archives to the community by, for example, developing relationships with local historical societies. I think that stuff would be really cool, and we need to do more of that. But what I would say is if you want to do some Masonic research, the best book to start with is Freemasonry for Dummies. And if you want to go to the Masonic Lodge and say, hey, I want to learn more about Freemasonry, do you have this book? They may be able to give it to you. Or they may have other documents about Freemasonry that they can give to you that you can learn more about. That'd be really cool as well. Most Masonic lodges, if nothing else, have a series of booklets, pamphlets, and special documents to give to people about Freemasonry. This just goes to show you how old I am, but when I first joined Freemasonry, they gave me a VHS tape to learn more about Freemasonry. So there you go. What does that tell you? I feel like I'm 900 years old. Then they got DVDs. Now I think they just give a link. Well, you go knock on their door and express your interest in joining. I can't make any promises, but certainly they'll probably have some pamphlets, if nothing else. Mikey Myers, my family is legendary within Freemasonry. By the way, I love your movies. I don't know if you're trying to say Michael Myers, the Halloween character, is legendary within Freemasonry, in which case I must have missed those parts of the movies, but I'd love to learn more about it. Or do you mean you, the person behind the Mikey Myers? By the way, please hit like and subscribe. Um, well, then, by the way, Mikey Myers, my favorite of the Halloween films is Halloween, the original. My second favorite is Rob Zombie's Halloween Part 2. And I'm not afraid to say it. I think it's an awesome film. Very underappreciated. Okay, well then welcome. Thank you for being here. Keep in mind, there is nobody who's really legendary within Freemasonry, right? Freemasonry is not about being legendary, it's about service to the lodge and community and the world around you. Um, but thank you for being here nonetheless. I hope you'll take a moment to hit the like and subscribe button. Let me know if you have any thoughts on Freemasonry. And let me know if you've been to your library. Beyond Ether, I'm sorry I forgot about that. I'm very sorry, but that's awesome. Good for you. I think the more libraries we have, the better. Never seen that movie, Steven. Well, you don't have to. It exists whether you believe in it or not, but okay. Or do you mean you don't believe that it's good for society, like I do? Any libraries or Freemasons? I don't know what you mean by that. Any absent jar? Better an absent jar than an absent mind. Please hit like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. None of that is true. Loyalty is royalty. You got to stop saying nonsense. Probably going to put you in timeout pretty soon. What about the Stonecutters, Robert the Great One? The Stonecutters are an absolutely awesome group within the Simpsons episode Homer the Great. I'm very fond of that episode myself. I think every Freemason should be. It's one of the great ones. It must be fate that brought you here after watching that episode. It is a very cool one. I love that episode. Um, I think every Freemason loves it. It's been a long time since I've seen it, though. It's probably been like, I don't even know, 20 years. Well, not that long because he did it with Igor. Maybe 5 years. Um, no, it's a great episode. Always makes me laugh. Keep in mind, it's not a very accurate representation of Freemasonry, but it is a lot of fun. And sometimes the most important thing is just, are you enjoying something? That's what should matter the most, more so than anything else. I mean, I haven't watched The Simpsons in so long. I never really got into it. So it's tough for me to say. It's not something I ever really watched enough to have a favorite episode. I was never a cartoon guy. We don't work for the 33rd degrees. That completely misunderstands how Freemasonry operates. 33rd degrees get none of the money that is paid into a lodge, nor do they have any influence, legislative or otherwise. You don't understand how Freemasonry is organized, how the rites work. You've been spending way too much time watching nonsense on social media, probably because you lead a very sad life. And instead of dealing with that sad life, I've decided to focus on Freemasonry because it's easier to focus on something outside of your control than actually trying to change things within your life. I mean, I suppose whatever you say, I would say I also really enjoy the Treehouse episodes. That's fair because they're really fun and they're really kind of enjoyable to watch. And I love scary movies, so obviously I love Halloween anything. Oh my gosh, Robert the Great One. There's a few: Charmed, Angel, Crossing Jordan, Lost, Freddy's Nightmares, Friday the 13th. Um, Nightmare Cafe is one I discovered recently. I would say those are the main ones. I think I mentioned them all. Charmed, uh, Charmed, Lost Angel, Crossing Jordan, Nightmare Cafe, Freddy's Nightmares, Friday the 13th, Are You Afraid of the Dark? I'd say those are the big ones. Um, Please, once again, take a moment if you're just joining, hit like and subscribe. We're almost at 3,880 subs, so help a brother out. We're kind of in the midst of a 24-hour stream marathon. I'm not going to be doing 24 hours straight. I'm going to be taking breaks as I go, but I will be streaming throughout the day, kind of doing a content marathon. Have I ever watched The Zeitgeist? I have not. Truly Von Doom, I never watched One Tree Hill either. So I like Psych as well, in fairness. I also like The Newsroom, Once Upon a Time. That was a really good episode. A really good show, excuse me. I like Aaron Sorkin. I used to really like West Wing, but I kind of grew to like it less. If you want to see my favorite movies, find me on Letterboxd. Yeah, I won't be staying on forever. I'll be taking breaks, going back and forth, but I wanted to do a bit of a marathon stream, see how many people I could get watching. Have I ever watched The Zeitgeist? So yeah, no, I have not watched The Zeitgeist. Never got into Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul. I like my wheelchair. This is a brand new chair I've got. Her name, by the way, is Gwendolyn. The people voted, and the name was Gwendolyn. Oh, Are You Afraid of the Dark is an awesome show. When I was a kid, I loved that show. It was absolutely like my top favorite show for a minute. It was so good. Um, my favorite episodes of Are You Afraid of the Dark, in no particular order, are Tale of the Prom Queen from the first season, Tale of the Night Shift, Tale of the Ghastly Grinner, Dangerous Soup, and then I enjoyed all the sequels, but especially the second season where they were in oh, what was it? I gotta check it now. It was really good. I'm gonna go to Wikipedia for a second here. I never got into Goosebumps. I was always an Are You Afraid of the Dark guy, more so than Goosebumps. Curse of the Shadows. So for me, I really loved Curse of the Shadows. I also liked Carnival of Doom. I thought Carnival of Doom was really cool as well. So yeah, so there you go. Ghastly Grinner is a great one. I'm not sure what you mean by that. I mean, Ghastly Grinner was about comic book character. Sorry, no Minecraft stream, our fiasco, but please hit like, please hit subscribe. Vigil, same thing. Please hit like and subscribe. Let me know if you have any thoughts on Freemasonry, positive, negative, or neutral. I'd love to hear it. I forget that one, but I did like, speaking of characters are being poop heads, I did actually really enjoy Laughing in the Dark. That's one I forgot, but that's really good. Um, Laughing in the Dark was an awesome episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark? Our fiasco, please hit like and subscribe. You're a bit late. It's April 21st now. You're one day late. But I hope you're doing well. Please hit that like and subscribe. And if you're new, let me know how it's going. Oh, Pinball Wizard. That was a great one. Yes, Dangerous Soup was a great episode starring Nev Campbell. Um, that was really good. If you want to learn more about my interest in media properties, check me out on Letterboxd. I'm C. Adamson on Letterboxd. You can find me there. Um, it's funny. I've always had these really great ideas for Masonic plays and Masonic movies, but never had the chance to create them yet. One day. I'm just not a very good writer, so I have watched Hereditary. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I thought it was really good. I went to see it with a bunch of friends from work actually when it came out. It wasn't the scariest movie ever. Um, that's one of those things that I think people kind of forget is one of the biggest mistakes I think they make when when they're advertising these films is they're saying, "Oh, it's the scariest movie ever." That sets the expectations way too high. It wasn't the scariest movie ever, but it was good. I will say that. Well, thank you, Robert the Great One. Hit that like button and subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. I mean, yeah, I don't know the last movie that I saw that was like terrifying. I suppose I would say, oh my God, if I had to pick like the movie that scared me the most, it's been a while since a movie really, really scared me. I mean, Requiem for a Dream and Mulholland Drive will always frighten me. And I do consider them both scary movies. I think Requiem for a Dream is actually a really good movie to talk about on this channel because I think what that movie deals with ultimately is addiction, but addiction caused by a lack of connection and loneliness. Friendship and brotherhood are ways to combat those things. So, oh, Robert, I get it. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. I think, unfortunately, phones and social media are turning us into kind of, in some ways, mindless zombies, if you will, which is really unfortunate. So, hopefully, we can start to turn away. And I say that as somebody who's trying to make a living on social media, but I can still recognize that we need to, it's causing a lot of harm to us as well. So, oh, Laughing in the Dark was a great episode. Honestly, all these episodes, in my experience right now, are on YouTube. At least what I've found, they're all uploaded onto YouTube. But Laughing in the Dark was a great episode. I'm bored. What's the topic? So we were talking about libraries. It is National Library Week and the ways that we within Freemasonry can utilize a relationship with the local library as a way to help promote Freemasonry and Freemasonry within a community, right? And also the way that we within Freemasonry can create libraries within our buildings, open them up to both the public and our Masons to encourage Masonic learning and education. And I listed the 10 kind of most famous or biggest Masonic libraries in the world. Number one was UGLE. Also encouraging everyone, but especially Masons, get yourself a library card. Even if you think you won't need it, having one helps grow libraries by showing a demand. Um, 10,000 on a late. My gosh. Well, Sino, give me some money for a super chat, and maybe I'll go to the dentist. I didn't know that a library fee could get that big. I've been really well Freemason or libraries here in Windsor and Glenview and around the world have always treated me good. Whenever I'm traveling, if I can find a library, I like to stop in. They're usually great places. You can make photocopies, you can rest and relax for a few minutes, you can grab a snack, usually have vending machines. They can be really, really helpful, and good places to travel when traveling to kind of make a pit stop in. Oh my gosh. Well, okay, 7 to 10 years, yeah, maybe, but still, at a certain point, at that point, you're like Bookman, the library police, from Seinfeld. If you know, you know. At least you brought it back to them. I mean, I don't think Psycho was overrated. I think for its time, it was properly rated. I mean, it just can't hold up to what we have today, but that's kind of, it's a victim of its own success because it was such a good movie and encouraged kind of the development of more scary movies, and that encouragement, meant eventually it would be surpassed. I got a big nose. Please hit like and subscribe. Apparently, see, I'm not a huge Hitchcock fan. I do like Psycho, but again, I think it just, unfortunately, as the times change, I mean, even black and white to color, right? It's going to be harder and harder for it to stay relevant. It's going to become anachronistic. Maybe there's a Masonic idea in there, right? Is Freemasonry doing enough to change with the times, or are we trying to be psycho in a world of hereditaries? In terms of sitcoms, see, I'm not a huge sitcom fan. I was never a huge fan of Seinfeld, to be honest. I mean, I never got into sitcoms. I enjoyed Community. I enjoyed New Girl. That's really about it. Trailer Park Boys from Canada. There you go. Do Masons know the meaning of life? I mean, do you know the meaning of life, Schmidt? Because if you do, please tell me. I will say that I think within Freemasonry, we're not going to tell you the meaning of life, but we are going to encourage you to find the meaning for you and the meaning that works best for you, as it should be. We'll give you some ethical considerations in order to help pursue that meaning. Um, I hope not. I have a library card. I'm proud to have a library card. So I hope they do not go extinct. That's for sure. I think they're very valuable and they provide a valuable opportunity for Freemasons. Again, imagine how cool it would be to spend a few moments, discussing, having within your local library a section dedicated to local Masonic history or local Masonic authors. We have a local Masonic author here in Windsor, Gene Lotz. He does incredible work. I don't know what ATM means, but you'd have to ask each Freemason. I know they always take my money. The best thing on TV right now, in my opinion, I don't watch a lot of current TV. So, do you mean like not reruns? Because obviously, I loved Lost very much, and that I think is still being shown on reruns in some places. But everything's on streaming nowadays. Like that's the other thing. Do you mean television shows on streaming? Do you mean television shows on cable? I mean, I don't know. So forgive me, I not really be able to help you out with that much. I'm still sticking to the old stuff that I like. Um, I will say this here in Canada and the States as well. I think Start TV is showing episodes of Charmed every Saturday, and I love that. I think that's awesome. Um, oh, well, we got a troll in a friend. Um, don't be trolling streams. Find better things to do. Never seen Tu Wong Fu. Never watched The Boys. Walker, Texas Ranger. Maybe there's some Masons on that one. I wouldn't be surprised. All right, we're going to give this another maybe 10, 15 minutes. Then we'll be ending this stream. Going to be taking a break, but I will be coming back on in a couple hours to do, again, this kind of not 24 hours straight marathon, but nonetheless a bit of a 24-hour content marathon. You're going to see me producing content in different places as well, in different locations. So keep that in mind. And I might not be doing my content exclusively on this stream. I may be doing my content on this stream and then my content on my personal channel. So keep that in mind as well. Actually, Scrubs just came out and I watched that and I enjoyed it. So maybe Scrubs. The Pit is also incredible. I've been enjoying The Pit quite a bit. Burnout is real, both for healthcare professionals and Freemasons. And I can assure you, there's a lot of Masons struggling right now with a lot of burnout, unfortunately. I love America and I love Israel and I love Canada. Canada is my country, so it's the country I love the most. I think it's the greatest country in the world, in part because we have the greatest neighbors in the world. But I also love Russia and I love Ukraine and I love Mexico and Brazil because it's the people that matter, not the country, not the political entity per se. I want to be a Mason. Why would I stop being a Mason? Being a Mason is something I'm grateful for. So I'm not sure why I would stop doing that. Please hit like and subscribe. This is boring. Well, you're still watching it, so you must find it not that boring. And you don't have to come back to this channel. I'm happy you're here for however long you were. Schmidt, do Masons know the mysteries of the universe? Masons know the ethics of how best to live as a good neighbor, a good brother, a good friend, a good son, a good citizen. I don't know if that counts as mysteries of the universe, but there you go. I'm dyslexic. I'm sorry that you're dyslexic. We actually have a learning center for children with disabilities in Windsor at the Masonic Temple. Can you talk about the Silence of the Lambs? It's a great movie. I don't consider it a horror movie, though. I consider it a thriller. I don't think it actually counts as a horror movie, though that's maybe a hot take, which is okay. Having hot takes is sometimes really fun. The Earth is not flat. The Earth is round. We just had a whole mission to the moon, Artemis, to prove the Earth is round. Well, it wasn't to prove the Earth is a ball, but they did so. Sir Jacob, Freemasonry is not that mysterious. Freemasonry is a club or a civic group. I mean, Freemasons have access to our rituals, which to understand them, you have to experience them. Freemasonry is ultimately an experiential institution, right? It's like riding a bicycle. You can read all you want to about riding a bicycle. Until you've actually done it, you don't truly understand it. You can read all you want to about being a Freemason, and honestly, all the information is out there, both true and false information. But unless you're actually willing to be a Mason and go through it, you'll never know really what it's like to be a Freemason. So we have the secret knowledge through the experience of what it means to be a Freemason. Nice. Many towns and cities and communities have Masonic lodges. Not as many as before, unfortunately, but it still is a very ubiquitous organization. Well, not anymore, but it was very ubiquitous, which means there was a lot of Masonic lodges all over the place. Is meditation? No, but I wish it was, Schmidt. I've been encouraging lodges to consider starting or finishing every meeting with meditation or with a mindfulness exercise. I think it's a shame that we don't, because I think it'd be really, really cool to do so. And I'm encouraging lodges to consider it. Hello, I'm Cloud. Hi, Shrek. Yes, I know I look like Shrek. People have told me that. Some people tell me I look ugly. Call me whatever you want to. Just hit the like and subscribe button. I would be truly grateful. And let me know if you have any thoughts on Freemasonry. So Freemasons do not worship Satan. Freemasonry is not a religion, so there is no system of worship, whether it be for Satan or anything else. Individual Freemasons will have their own beliefs on a religious, like they may be Christian or Jewish or Muslim. I've known a couple Wiccan Freemasons, Wiccan, but they didn't really talk to me much about their rituals. To my knowledge, they didn't worship Satan as Wiccans. They more worship nature. But I don't know, like, I will say Freemasonry rituals, they're not like anything, they're just Masonic rituals. Just like the elk rituals, an elk is just like the elks, right? It's not meant to be anything other than what it is, which is Masonic. Um, I have no idea who Palm Beach Peach is, or Palm Beach Pete, no idea who that is. Keep in mind, sometimes things are metaphorical and not literal, Sir Jacob. Um, Please take a moment, hit like, hit subscribe. I would truly be grateful. Never sacrificed a human, never sacrifice an animal, would never want to. I think in some ways I'd be sadder to sacrifice animals. I like animals more than people, but would never sacrifice either. Freemasonry is not about that because Freemasonry, and we as Freemasons, are taught to be good and honorable and not go around breaking laws of the countries in which we live. Pretty sure human and animal sacrifice would be breaking a lot of very good laws. Um, Never worshipped an owl, Hayden. Never worshipped an owl in Freemasonry. The owl is not really a Masonic symbol at all. You do see it on the crest of the Detroit Masonic Temple, but it's meant to represent Athena or wisdom. Never seen it in any other context within Freemasonry. Nope, Saint, we don't sacrifice humans. That's not what Freemasonry is about. Um, I'm not from America, a friend. I'm Canadian. It's a weird obsession you have with me in America and me in Israel. I don't like to be any country first. I think that's a silly way to look at the world. I think we should all try to cooperate with one another as best we can. Because if I'm running around saying Canada first, Canada first, Canada first, no one else is going to want to hang out with me or help me. Want to work with everybody. Um, well, if you wanted to sacrifice a human, then you should go to, well, I guess you can want whatever you want. If you were to try to sacrifice a human, or even worse, succeed, then you should go to jail for the crime of hurting the human. I guess you can want whatever you want, just as long as you don't act on that want, because you should, sacrificing people is bad. I'm proud to go on record and say it's bad and it is illegal and it should be illegal. Um, I think that was Bohemian Grove, wasn't it, Hayden? Nothing to do with Freemasonry. Um, no, there is something wrong with that, friend. It's a dumb way to view the world. I don't think it helps anything. Like I said, if I were to run around my neighbors and say it's Cameron first, Cameron first, Cameron first, well, they're not going to want to support me. Why would they? If I'm always going to put myself ahead of them, I want to put their interests at least on the level with me, and the hope would be they would put my interests on the level with them. That way, we can all protect ourselves from falling too far down to negative kind of rabbit holes, right? It's very easy once you start to fall to not have anybody to catch you. And if you spend all your time saying it's Cameron first, same thing with the country. If a country starts to really struggle and they've been running around telling people, I'm putting my country first, why should anybody help them? Bohemian Grove was not a Freemason gathering, Hayden. You've been looking up a whole bunch of nonsense about on social media. Bohemian Grove was nothing to do with Freemasonry and has nothing to do with Freemasonry. No, Masons are not all about one world order. Masons aren't even about one world Masonic orders, let alone a new world order. Freemasonry is decentralized. So why would we want to have a singular government order when we don't even have a singular Masonic order? It's decentralized, state by state, province by province, in Europe, country by country. Um, Mr. One Boston, Masonry is not Jewish. Masonry is as much Jewish as it is Christian, Muslim, Hindu, Sikh, Buddhist. Freemasonry is not a singular philosophical or religious order, or ethnicity for that matter. Welcome back, Legend Jesus. If you're not seeing me for a long time, you probably don't have your notifications turned on, and you need to turn on those notifications so whenever I'm streaming, you can find me. You need to make sure that you can do that because, or otherwise, you're going to miss out on my good stuff. So turn on that notification bell. You can leave the Masons at any time, Schmidt. Many people do. Freemasonry, we make a big deal about the importance of joining of your own free will and accord, but it also means staying of your own free will and accord. You'd have to ask each Mason, Saint. Freemasonry is not a religion, so there is no Masonic belief. I suppose at the most basic level, they believe it is worth spending time with other people because Freemasonry is, a community organization. It's about community and forming a community. But there's no Masonic religious belief. We have Christians and Jewish people and Muslims, all of whom can be and are Freemasons. So I suppose in some ways what I'd say is the best way to think about it ultimately is the core belief within Freemasonry is that it is worth spending time with other people. People, not Jewish people may start a war, and we hope they don't, but you can't blame it on an ethnic group. That's a dumb way to think. Don't like him. Happy he's not around anymore. Would have preferred him to go to trial and be found guilty and spend the rest of his life in jail, because I think that's the best way to go about these things. However, at least he can't hurt anybody else. There are fees. They're called dues. They can be as little as $25 a year to as much as $250, or it depends on the lodge and how big it is and where it's located. If it's in a very expensive place, like let's say the lodge meets in downtown Manhattan, those dues are probably going to be pretty high. If they meet in small town Texas, $25 a year. DUES, dues. Yes, Ozzy. Freemasonry. One of the differences between Freemasonry and, say, religion is within religion, there's generally this understanding that you have some type of singular authority, a priest, a rabbi, an imam, who gives you the proper interpretation of, a scripture or a holy book. Within Freemasonry, there's the understanding that Freemasons are able to interpret Freemasonry as they see it. They can't be told how to interpret it. There's a lot of Freemasons at that time. There would be more later. But yeah, Freemasonry was on the upswing in terms of membership in the 1830s across America. I think he should have been in jail for his whole life. I think, again, we don't know if he would have been found guilty or not. Hopefully he would have been found guilty because the evidence to me seems pretty, pretty damning. I do wish he had gone to trial and been found guilty. And also by going to trial, he could have named other people involved. I think, unfortunately, a lot of people seem to be getting away with stuff that they should be arrested and charged with, but kind of is what it is. But aside from the fact that I hate the fact he hurt so many people and harmed so many people, I hate how conspiracy theorists are tying him into Freemasonry when he was not a Freemason and nothing to do with Freemasonry. And that annoys me as well. It's not as important as the victims that he hurt, but still frustrates me quite a bit. It's a green screen. It's a green screen, but this is my lodge, not mine, but this is a lodge room floor out of Leamington. I really think it's beautiful, so I decided to green screen it. I'll be doing some more green screening later, I promise, because we're going to be doing some more streams. Maybe he was, maybe he wasn't, but he wasn't tied to Freemasons. So there is no handbook within Freemasonry. I think you're referring to ritual books. I've said this before. I don't go into specifics about Masonic rituals, but everything is not literal but symbolic. The example I've given before, I'll use this again. I used to work in a legal aid clinic. While working there, I was working with a woman who was being evicted from her apartment. The landlord claimed she didn't pay her rent. She claimed that she did. At one point, she said, if I'm lying, I'll, rip out my throat and may God strike me dead. Now, she didn't literally mean that she'd rip out her tongue or that she literally thought God would strike her dead. Rather, she was using hyperbole and symbolism to express how strongly she felt about what she was saying and how important it was that she be believed by me, by her representative. That's what you want to think about those things. They're not literal and they're not practiced, they're metaphorical. Um, are any actors into Freemasonry? There have been throughout history. I can't think of any names right now. Um, oh, I think Richard Dreyfuss is a Freemason, if I recall correctly. Don't quote me on that. I need to double check, but there are no demons in Freemasonry. Schmidt, I mean, whenever you grow your social network, obviously that can help you with networking, kind of by definition. The more people you know, the bigger social network you have. And there was a time, especially in the 1920s, when people were famous for, I'm going to join the Moose, the Elk, the Freemasons, the PTA, the Rotary. They were called Barry the Joiner. It was kind of a derisive term, and it meant somebody who joins every group and organization just to try to get like either business or maybe they want to be the mayor or whatever it might be. However, if you're joining for that purpose, you're probably not going to enjoy Freemasonry too much because it's not big enough anymore to really be of benefit as a networking thing for business. You're better off joining other groups. But it's not going to hurt. I mean, by definition, if there was a secret society, we wouldn't know about it. It would be a secret, right? Freemasonry is not a secret society. Um, well, I hope we never disband. I hope we never find out. If a Masonic Lodge disbands, goes dark is the term, very often its building will be sold and a new, owner will purchase it and repurpose it. All I ask and all I hope is if that ever happens and a new owner moves into a Masonic building, they are respectful of the history, maybe put up a plaque talking about the Masons who were there, something to that effect. Maybe even protect the facade so it still shows the Masonic history. Um, right? That happened actually in California several times. Jimmy Kimmel performs in a Masonic temple, an old school Masonic temple. It's not really registration, Saints. It's an application process. And the most important step is the first step, which is you approach the lodge of your own free will and express your interest in joining. You do that first, and you kind of get to know the lodge. It really is the application process is a getting to know you process and you getting to know the lodge. It's as much about the lodge getting to know you as you getting to know them because it is a leap of faith. And because it's a leap of faith joining, but also the lodge is taking a leap of faith and bringing somebody new into their organization, you want to take your time with it, get to know them, go out for coffee with them, grab dinner with them, go to some of their public events. You get to know them and they get to know you. But the first step is you approaching the lodge, expressing your interest in joining. Then you get sponsors and there's a vote. That stuff comes later. Just approach. Approach them, express your interest. No, police can and should arrest me if I commit crimes. Schmidt, clearly you've never seen the Windsor Masonic Temple. There are windows all over it. Same thing in Glenview, Detroit. There are probably thousands of windows. There's 76 windows in the Windsor Masonic Temple. I think I might be getting that number incorrect. It's been a while since I've counted them. we are human beings to evil, so we are not immune to damage of any sort. We can be as harmed as anybody else. Although I'm encouraging Masons to always try their best to be as healthy as they possibly can be. Therefore, they can contribute more to society as well as more to their Masonic lodge and set a good example for others to emulate. Would it make a difference if I was Jewish? Whether I am or not, Freemasonry welcomes men of all different ethnicities, backgrounds, religions, languages, whatever else it might be. I mean, many times we would not put windows into our lodge rooms, but the building itself is not the lodge room, right? I can tell you there's a lot of windows in a lot of Masonic buildings in North America. Um, yes, I got a big nose. Well, I mean, we will help our members if we can, financially or other ways. I mean, I always encourage and remind people when you're thinking about helping brothers, helping members, don't just think about helping members in terms of, through financial means. That's why I'm always encouraging brothers to get psychological first aid training. If they, for example, are going through a divorce, they may not need financial help, but they may need somebody to talk to, sit down and talk with about what they're going through. They may need emotional support. If their house burns down, they may have insurance and be able to recoup the value of the house, but that doesn't mean they won't be really struggling with the losing their shelter. And again, they may need somebody to talk to. They may not need money, but they may need time or charity. So we do try to help our brothers out as much as we can. Maybe they're thinking about hurting themselves, in which case they need to know the 988 number, right? Um, but we also try to help the community at large. I don't think a Freemason should get psychological first aid training exclusively for his brothers, but for anybody in his orbit who may be struggling psychologically or struggling with a crisis event and needs assistance. Um, Saint, well, the dues that you pay in your craft lodge will go to the treasurer and then into the lodge's bank account, and then it'll be divided up and sent to different kind of bills to pay. So usually the lion's share of the money goes to the building in which you meet, because that needs, you need to pay heating bills and cooling bills. If you have air conditioning, you need to pay water, you need to pay rent or property taxes. Usually the building in which you meet takes the lion's share of the money. Then there's money set aside for dinner before or after lodge refreshments. You have somebody who has to make sure you're feeding the guys. Then there is then there is any money that's owed to a district association. Sometimes there's money put away in a benevolence fund to help brothers who may be struggling. So, yeah, it's as part-time or as full-time as you want it to be. It's a volunteer organization. There are some Masons who join and they pay their dues every year, but you never see them in the lodge. And there are some Masons who are there 3, 4, 5 nights a week. It really just depends on the Mason and how active he chooses to be. Um, it's unfortunate in some ways that so many people treat Freemasonry as first and foremost a volunteer organization and not as more of a profession. But that's for another story. That's for another day. Legend, I do not. I do not think King Solomon's a real man. I'm nearly positive he was a legend. Or allegorical. Apocryphal might be the best term. Well, active with the lodge. I mean, if there's a lodge meeting in your district happening every night, you could be there every night of the week, right? Or charitable work, or community work, or could be something as simple as going to the lodge to clean it out and vacuum and what dust, right? Kind of almost everything, unfortunately and fortunately, is run through volunteer means. That makes it very hard sometimes for smaller lodges because people are for a variety of reasons, not volunteering the way they used to. But hello, Michael Knight. Please hit like and subscribe. It's happened before, whatever you say. Masons have come to lodge higher drunk, and I was very disappointed in them. And they were, I mean, I suppose if they are not sufficiently intoxicated that you can tell automatically, they may just sit on the sides and not bother anybody, and then it'll be ignored. However, then becomes the issue of they have to leave the lodge. And if they have to leave the lodge, if they have to drive while intoxicated, that's a big problem. And I have seen guys who've been struggling with issues basically be told, like, you're not driving home, we're going to get you a taxi or call someone to pick you up, and you can pick your car up the next day. Because we are citizens of the community first, and we have a responsibility to the safety of the whole community. So yeah. Do I fear death? I don't fear death. I think it's kind of silly to fear death because it's something that is coming for all of us. So it'd be foolish to fear something that, like, we cannot avoid. I like to think that death gives me actually a pretty healthy perspective on life because I know my time here on earth is limited, because I know I'm not going to be around forever. It encourages me to, A, not take things too seriously if I can help it, but B, to try my best to live a good life while I have the chance to do so here on earth, because, it's like I'm not going to be around forever. So why not be appreciative of my time? Well, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen when I meet God. You're assuming I'm a Christian. I think you're assuming that you know what's going to happen. I don't think anybody knows for sure what will happen when we die. I guess what I'll say is, I guess I'll see. If I meet him and it turns out I was wrong this whole time, then I can at least hold my head up and say I always tried to do my best. Beyond that, I guess we'll see. I'm highly questionable about the ability to interpret dreams, either our own or somebody else's. So, with skepticism is how I look. I mean, I can't speak to why people care about the Temple Mount because it's not really of my religious beliefs, but I understand it's important theologically to many people. It's where, if I recall correctly, King Solomon's temple was located, or Mount Moriah. Um, Maybe not, but at least I tried, right? Would I rather, I mean, if I'm going to fail either way, I'd like to at least try my best and fail than not try my best. There's a dignity in trying and failing, more so than not even trying in the first place. Um, look up the Samson option. I do not know what the Samson option is. I've never heard of that. Sounds, I mean, it's not something I know about. Well, according to this, it's a book um, by Seymour M. Hersh, Israel's Nuclear Arsenal and American Foreign Policy. All right. Sounds like a political book. Freemasonry is not political. A friend, your obsession with Israel is growing kind of tiresome. Um, don't know who Spurgeon is. Again, Michael Knight, I'm not necessarily Christian, but there are many Christian Freemasons. This channel is not about Christianity. This channel is about Freemasonry. However, there are many Christians who are Freemasons. Aussie, I have not, but I would love to. It's on my list because there's a lot of cool Masonic buildings and cool Masonic history there. Um, I would love to check it out. I think it'd be really fun. I mean, I suspect the Temple of Solomon or Solomon's Temple was more apocryphal than real, or legendary than real. We're going to give this stream another 5 minutes, then we'll be ending it, but I'll be back on later. I'm going to keep on coming back on and off throughout these next 24 hours. So you're going to see a lot of me. Turn on your notification bell. I mean, if a judge is a good judge, first of all, he's going to recognize he doesn't know everything, but presumably if he is able to, through the evidence, confirm guilt, at least beyond a reasonable doubt, then he should find appropriate sentence that balances, the desire for retributive justice with mercy and clemency and rehabilitation, right? There's no single governing factor that should determine sentencing. It should be a variety of factors. There's 7 in Canada. Retribution, rehabilitation, public safety, denouncement. I forget the rest of them. All of those are valuable things for the judge to consider. So, the Islamic faith, you see a lot of symbols from Islam popping up primarily in the shrine, but there are many Muslim Freemasons. Um, well, I mean, you shouldn't lie to either, though, is kind of the point, right? Um, if you're basing like your honesty on who can or cannot punish you for it or the extent of that punishment, I'm not sure that's a healthy way to go through life. Or from a Masonic perspective, a particularly good or honorable way. Um, as a general rule, I think even that, right? I mean, to me, if there is a omnipotent, infinite God, you should not lie to God any more than you should lie to your child, any more than you should lie to a stranger. One may have more ability to punish than the other, but I think the morality of it is wrong equally, right? Whether you steal $5 or $5 million, it's not really the point. Isn't that the point? Is you stole it, not the amount. Um, so I don't think you should sin against your neighbor, nor against an infinite God, nor against a finite God, for that matter. You get an electric shock if you touch the Ark of the Covenant. A lot, Michael Knight. I have no idea how many, but a lot of them, I'm sure. I couldn't go back and count them all. Some I regret, some I don't, right? Some were white lies or were told to spare feelings. Some were my own weakness. So, yeah, but I couldn't count more than a couple. But as a rule, right, Freemasonry would tell us that I shouldn't be doing that. And I have tried, since I've been a Freemason for 20 years, to be more ethically upstanding than I was in my past. Um, so whatever you say, I definitely don't believe that. I've known a lot of Muslims. I've been lucky to know a lot of Muslims. Um, and I'm grateful for that. None of them, to my knowledge, wanted Sharia law. So I find that silly. Michael, I mean, again, but what if I don't believe, what if I'm not Christian? There are many Christians in Freemasonry, but I might not be a Christian. So when you say Revelation 21:8, it's not necessarily that I'll believe that. You're kind of asking me to make a Pascal wager, but I'm not really interested in that. Part of it is it's 4 or 5 in the morning. Um, Masons are not against deep sea exploration. I mean, I would think, as a general ethical rule, Freemasons would be supportive of any type of exploration because exploration helps us better understand the natural world. Freemasons want to live in accordance with that natural world, and want to celebrate science, the liberal arts, geometry, whether you're exploring the universe above us or the oceans beneath us, or around us. Science is a big part of that. Well, Michael, what if I don't believe necessarily in an afterlife that includes a heaven? You're making an assumption that I should believe what you're telling me. But again, what if I'm not a Christian? Um, right? I think you keep asking me these questions. Again, Freemasonry is not a religion. You're in the wrong place. I think you need to go to church. Um, Jeffrey Epstein is not a Freemason. He neither was nor is a Freemason. I don't think we're in a simulation. I used to think we were, Haden, but I no longer believe so. Um, well, that was a religious ceremony, right? We talk about Freemasonry from a ceremonial perspective. Keep in mind, there are many different types of ceremonies. There are secular ceremonies and rituals. There are religious ceremonies and rituals. Oh my gosh, Michael Knight. Again, for heaven's sakes. Some people don't understand things. He did. He did. I mean, ritual is a very important part of Freemasonry, but also outside of Freemasonry, of many different histories, traditions, and cultures. Um, Hayden, well, I think it's not when I changed my mind. I just realized it was kind of a silly idea to hold because if I believe that this is a simulation, well, who's to say when I exit that simulation, I'm in the real world, right? It's kind of like once you accept that a simulation could exist, you have to accept that right? You have to accept that everything could be a simulation. And that becomes, um, right? That becomes kind of a turtles all the way down. You better to just say whether this is a simulation or not is kind of irrelevant. We have this world. It seems to be the one we have. So let's not worry about whether it's a simulation or not and just focus on trying to make it as good as we possibly can to those around us. Um, well, that's the point. There'd be no way to know, Hayden. So better to not think about it and just say, we're here. Let's make it this as good as we can. Um, it's one of those things where I would say everybody's guilty with Jesus as well. That wouldn't be the point. I would say, thinking about things from the simulation standpoint does kind of create, in some ways, a really interesting perspective that can help us better understand the world. But that perspective is not going to, I'm trying to think what the word is. It's not inherently, it's kind of a self-defeating thing. You can use it to recontextualize our place in the universe, but it's very hard to make any practical plans of action if whether you believe the world is a simulation or not. It still hurts when you stub your toe. Oh, the level question. 3rd degree Master Mason, 18th degree Scottish Rite Mason, Worshipful Master. Again, John, what if I'm not a Christian? Right? I don't understand. Again, we're on a stream not talking about religion. I appreciate people have their religious beliefs, and that's awesome. One of the things about Freemasonry that's so beautiful is it teaches us to be tolerant of all different religious beliefs and not necessarily try to tell anyone what they should or should not believe. Um, but I could say the same thing to you, right, John? Just because you believe something doesn't mean it's true. There are a lot of people who believe a lot of things. Whether it's true or not is a very different question. But the point is, so long as your beliefs lead you to kind of be kind and charitable and a good neighbor and a good friend, it's not my place to tell you you're right or wrong. Just like it's not anyone's place to tell anyone else if they're right or wrong. That might be, a priest could say something, I suppose, but even that, I'd say from a secular perspective, within his church, he can explain and express his religious teachings, but probably shouldn't be running around telling people on the street necessarily. I don't know. I don't think they say that legend, Jesus. I think Muslims, to my understanding, say he was crucified. They view him as a prophet, if I recall correctly. No, Saint Freemasonry was started by stone Masonic guilds in England, probably, or in Scotland. The first speculative Masons being the Alexander brothers in 1634. And the first Grand Master was Sayer, who was not Jewish. The first kind of written works about Freemasonry, like speculative Masonry, would have been the Anderson Constitutions. He was a Presbyterian minister. Freemasonry is not Israel first. Freemasonry is not any country first. I mean, I suppose you could argue that if you are a Freemason in America, you'll be America first. If you're a Freemason in Canada, you'll be Canada first in some ways. I always say we are citizens first, Masons second. I truly believe that. You know, I'm a Canadian first and a Freemason second. Um, if you're a Mason in Israel, I suppose you'd be an Israeli first and a Mason second. But that doesn't mean we cannot use our Masonic ties to remind us that whether you are Canadian, American, Mexican, British, French, Israeli, Filipino, you are a brother more so than anything else. And you are one of my brothers. Um, so my supreme being, Saint 666, is the rational nature of the universe as expressed through geometry. Um, what are the pros to being a Mason? Well, there is no singular pro NTZ claw. Rather, every Mason will find his own personal pros and cons for that matter. Like for me, one of the pros is it makes me feel close to my grandfather who passed away before I was born. But he was a Mason, and being a Mason makes me feel closer to him. Also, I feel like it's helped me develop skills and things like memorization as well as management, right? Like when I became worshipful master, I had to organize the administrative meetings. There's a lot of work that goes into that. If you have a job that involves committees and organizing committees, being a Freemason is going to help you with that a lot. Even if you don't become a leader, just seeing how others organize these things is going to be super helpful. But ultimately, I mean, there's also a social safety net to it. If you fall in hard times, you can approach the lodge and ask for assistance, ask for benevolence. I've known 3 Masons who would have been homeless if not for other Masons stepping in and assisting him with paying his rent. So there are those benefits. There's health benefits. All the evidence shows being part of a group and being social, it provides you with all sorts of health benefits, helps you live longer than isolation and loneliness. But at its core, the pro of being a Freemason is the pro of being part of any group. It makes you feel like you're part of something bigger than yourself, and that's something humans desire. Um, Legend, you need to calm down. You're asking a lot of things I don't understand. Jesus is a religious figure and historical figure. If you're Christians, you believe he's Lord. Solomon is a different figure altogether. Um, all right. And Jesus is not Osiris or different figures altogether. I mean, I'm sure that Jesus existed. I mean, the religious aspects of it, you'd have to talk to Christians about that and theological figures. It's not really my place to say. Um, no, Curb, you're clearly not a Mason. There is no reptilian God. There is no God within Freemasonry. Every Freemason will have his own personal religious beliefs based on how he grew up or what he believes or revelation or social factors. Who knows how he comes to believe what he believes? Um, nope, Freemasonry is not a religion, and we have Freemasons of all different religious beliefs. We are not required to have the same, nor should we. There are Hindu, Muslim, Jewish, Sikh, Buddhist, indigenous, all different types of religious beliefs represented within a Masonic lodge. it's one of its greatest strengths, honestly, is the fact that so many different Masonic lodges are represented, or so many different beliefs are represented in a Masonic lodge. Um, Jonathan, I mean, I guess we'll see if that were to happen, then I guess the Christians would be proved correct. One of my favorite quotes about that, though, this idea of Jesus coming soon, um, I'm Scottish, right? Is there was a story told, it was by a Catholic priest, if I recall correctly, Catholic minister. But so there was this monastery, and there was a bunch of young boys, like kids playing soccer outside. And a priest came up to them and said to them, all the kids, if I were to tell you that Jesus was coming back in 1 hour, what would you do? And one of the boys said, I would go and beg forgiveness from anybody that, I've offended. Another boy said, I would forgive anyone who's offended or harmed me. Another boy said, I would go and clean my room. Another boy said, I would go and tell my mom that I love her. And the last boy said, I would keep on playing soccer. And the priest asked, why would you keep on playing soccer if Jesus is coming in an hour? And the boy said, well, I've already asked forgiveness from all those I need to ask it from. And I've already forgiven all those that have harmed me. I already got my room in order. I've told my mom I loved her today. The point is, I've always liked that story. I think it makes sense to me that we should try to live our lives in such a way that if the end comes for us at any given point, we can go knowing that we've done all we could here on earth to leave our affairs in as good of order as possible. I like to think that's a good way to view it. I always like that story. No, there is no cult or satanic or demonic aspect within any part of Freemasonry. Um, I don't know if I'm forgiven or not. Maybe I'll find out one day. Staying ready is not a bad approach. I think that's a good approach in life. You don't have to think about it in a religious context. You can just think, just stay ready in life for whatever might come is generally good advice and generally a good approach to take, I think, to life. If you've not done so yet, please take a moment, hit that like and subscribe button. Consider a super chat, just $2 gets your super chat read out text to speech. So that could be kind of fun. Yeah, I mean, it's more not about trying to fool, just about don't leave yourself in such a state that you're kind of caught unawares or caught with things still to do if the end comes. And that could be anything, right? Like, did you tell the people that you love them, right? You may say, well, I can always tell them tomorrow. Maybe you can, but maybe tomorrow, knock on wood, you get hit by a car and you end up leaving this world not having told the people you love that you love them. You know, did you call that old friend you've been meaning to call? Or did you put it off to the side, right? Like it's one of those things where all this stuff matters a lot and it's worth thinking about. It's worth considering how we are living our lives, if for no other reason, then it helps us understand how we will leave this life. Hello, Petey, please hit like and subscribe. Well, John Blue, if you are Christian and you die an unbeliever in Jesus, or if you are of the Christian faith, then you will believe that someone who dies not believing in Jesus will, I guess, go to hell. If you are not a Christian, but if you're, let's say, Muslim, then you'll believe something different. If you're Jewish, you'll believe something different. If you're Hindu or Sikh, you'll believe something different. And who's to say who is right or wrong? I don't know, but it's not my stream, that's for sure. It's PKPT. All right, well, welcome. Please hit like and subscribe. I mean, every Mason will have their own version of the supreme being of the universe, or God, if you will. I don't think anybody needs the Masons, but I think people get a great deal of enjoyment and help and support from the Freemasons. Just like nobody needs music, but it doesn't stop music from making the world a better place. You know, no one needs their favorite movie. No one needs their favorite food. They could just eat gruel. It's like, it's not enough, right? We actually want things in this world, not just that we need, but that we want. Poetry, art, kindness, charity, oysters. That's my favorite food. Those aren't things I need, but at the same time, maybe I do need them. At least I need them as a way to make the world better. And Freemasonry is the same way. Maybe I don't physiologically need it, but on the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it's not at the bottom, that's for sure. It's also not on that hierarchy of needs. Probably fits into self-actualization or support. That is, Jonathan, probably the best way that most people would describe Freemasonry. Yeah. Your higher power is your higher power. It depends on your religious beliefs or spiritual beliefs. Oh, I love oysters. Raw oysters is my favorite thing in the world, but I also love oysters in a can. Um, they do not teach you high-tech knowledge, but you're being encouraged to learn and develop more knowledge, right? As you grow in knowledge, Freemasonry encourages you to do so. Well, I appreciate that, British Defense League. That's incredibly kind of you. My numbers are going up slowly but surely, so it's much, much appreciated. Yes, um, Jonathan, I love seafood as well. And the best way that you can help British Defense League is again by following on this channel, sharing it, which you did, and follow me on my social media accounts, whether it be Instagram or Facebook or um, Twitter or Blue Sky, all that stuff, believe me, it helps out majorly and would be much, much appreciated. Thank you, British Defense League. That's incredibly kind of you. I'm going to be ending this stream soon. However, I will be back on after a break. I'm going to be doing a bit of a 24-hour content marathon. That's not like exclusive 24 hours in a row like I used to do, but that is going to be a lot of content on across multiple channels over the next 24 hours. So how do you know what belief is true? Well, I mean, ultimately, you don't know what belief is true. You simply have to rely on observations to make the best guess, right? Now, when it comes to religious belief, it's a very hard thing to say, but when it comes to here on Earth, it gets a lot, I think, more observable, right? Like, I don't know, um, I don't, like, how do I put this? I mean, I believe that democracy is the best form of government. I don't know that's true, but I believe it because based on my historical research and my observations of the world, democracies tend to have better outcomes for more people in terms of the health and happiness of the population than, say, a dictatorship, right? So you kind of observe the results in the world, um, and then you try to find common denominators. Um, No, light free. I do not like pineapple on pizza. I am saying no to pineapple on pizza. And I will stand firm in that, that's for sure. All right, guys, um, we are going to be ending this stream. I will be back on though, in probably a couple hours. Just make sure you have your notifications turned on. And also, I'll be on my other channel as well, youtube.com/Cameron Adamson. You can find me there also. I'm going to be posting stuff on Instagram, on Twitter, on X, on all that good jazz. It's going to be a lot of fun. So do me a favor and follow me there. And my plan is to be back soon. Not staying up all night. I'm going to be taking breaks, but I'll be coming back on and off frequently. So You're going to see a lot of me over the next 24 hours. So just make sure to hang out. Turn on your notifications. Right now, if I recall correctly, let me just double check something here quickly. Let's see. Thank you for the heart. I love first aid. It's important for people to have it. Where is it? Where is it? 6.1% of my subscribers have their notifications turned on, and 2.8% have their notifications turned on specifically for this channel, which is lower than the typical YouTube. So it's not enough. I mean, it is enough. And honestly, if you are a subscriber, I'm truly appreciative and grateful for that. But if you're a subscriber with your notification bell turned on, that helps even more so, with you finding my work and with YouTube recommending me to that great big audience out there. So it would be much, much obliged. Well, I appreciate that, Light Free, and I appreciate you guys all being here as well. Like I said, it helps out majorly. And also, we are at 3,881 subscribers. Thank you. We're getting close to 4,000. 119 away. So let's see if we can't get there. Maybe in the next week or so. Assuming I can get, let's say, 20 subscribers per day. Yeah, Legend's getting a bit much. We're going to have to put him in timeout. Although I'm ending the stream soon, but nonetheless. I think it's important because one of the biggest misconceptions about Freemasonry is that it's religious in some sense. And Freemasonry is not a religion, either Christian or anything else. It has men of all different faiths and women, but men of all different faiths, backgrounds, and beliefs. Freemasonry itself is a civic club or social group. It was founded, the first Grand Lodge was founded in 1717 in England. You can say the first Masonic Lodge itself was founded in 1634. It evolved from stone Masonic guilds in the Middle Ages, which is why, for example, within Freemasonry, we talk a lot about stones and stonework because we were initially evolved out of stone Masonic guilds. Those were professional stonemasons who eventually developed a social aspect to their groups. That social aspect was known as Freemasonry, and it welcomed men who were not necessarily stonemasons, but simply wanted to hang out with others and be a part of something. Hold on just one sec. NTZ Claw. I'm just trying to get this thing started quickly. Well, if you would like to know more about joining the Masons, what you need to do is find a Masonic lodge in your area and express your interest in joining. So, come on. Hold on just one second. It's being difficult. I can't. You can use the internet. Usually you'll be able to find a Masonic lodge in your area, in your neck of the woods. Contact them. Express your interest in wanting to join, to be one, ask one, right? You can either go and approach them directly by knocking on their door, or you can write them a letter, send them an email. That's how I did it. I wrote them a letter.
At NTZ Claw 2 United States dollars, I would like to know more about joining the Mason.
There you go. Sorry, it took me a second to get the text-to-speech up and running. So NTZ, you need to find a Masonic lodge in your area. I'm assuming you're from America. Find a Masonic lodge in your area. Write them a letter or send them an email expressing your interest in joining, and wait for them to contact you back. You can go and just knock on the building itself, the door itself, express your interest in joining Freemasonry. But if you're going to do that, make sure you have a letter with you that has your contact information on it and your interest in joining. That way, if nobody's at the building, you can leave the letter in the mailbox, or if somebody is in the building but can't speak to you, you can just give them the letter. They can contact you at a time when they are free. And you just get to know them and they get to know you. The early part of the application process is really you getting to know the lodge and the lodge getting to know you. If that made any sense, NTZ Claw, let me know if it did. There is no true religion from Masonic perspective except the religion to which all men can agree, which is to be good men and honorable and leave our particular ideas to ourselves. That is from the Anderson Constitution, which is a section I love, where he says, we all have our particular denominations, we all have our particular beliefs, but instead we will all choose to be of the one true religion, which is to be good men and honorable. And whether you are a good man and honorable and Muslim, or a good man and honorable and Christian, or a good man and honorable and Jewish, you can still be of your particular denominations and beliefs and faiths. And we won't say which one is correct or incorrect, but we'll say for the Masonic purposes, you need to be a good man and honorable. Oh, we got United States National back. I would say in some ways being a Freemason is the height of a strong mind if you're active within it because you're dedicated to helping others, which takes a lot of strength. Maybe nobody's good, but we can at least try, you know? Maybe not to be good in a spiritual sense, but we can be a good neighbor. We can be a good friend. We can be a good citizen. That's what Freemasonry teaches us. We can be good and skilled, right? There's good in a moral or spiritual sense, but there's also good in a practical sense. Like stonemasons, by definition, were good at working with stone. That was a skill they had. They were good at working with stone. A football player is good at playing football, right? To be a man is as much a spiritual endeavor as it is a practical endeavor, and there are ways to be good at it. You can be a good neighbor, you can be a good friend, you can be a good brother, you can be a good citizen. And I think Freemasonry provides you with ethical frameworks on which you can be those things. So the spiritual aspect of it, or where you go when you leave this earth, that's for you and your religious followers. NTZ Claude, did I answer your question about joining Freemasonry? Find a Masonic lodge in your area. Google is usually a good approach. Contact them. Send them a letter. Make sure you include your contact information. I think you need to be really careful. I think it's very easy for self-interest to spiral into selfishness. Yeah, so there's a lot of Masonic lodges in the United States. I mean, it depends on where you live and how big your town is, but like what state are you in, if you don't mind my asking? You don't have to say if you don't want to. It can be, even not even power, but the desire for power can be born out of selfishness if you desire to be powerful to harm others. It'd be hard to be a nomadic Freemason because you have to belong to a particular lodge, but it's not impossible. And honestly, being a nomad sounds incredible. I've always liked the Jack Reacher books, and whenever I think about those Jack Reacher books, I think about being a nomad. My thoughts on the Jews are as the same as my thoughts on any other group or organization, or sorry, group or ethnicity or religion, which is they deserve to be respected as human beings. Whether you're Muslim, Jewish, Christian, Hindu, Sikh, we're all humans, we're all brothers, and I respect them in the same way I respect, any other man of goodwill who is kind and generous, or woman for that matter. So whether you're Jewish or Hindu or Sikh makes no difference to me. You're still welcome to be a Freemason, and you're still my brother. Okay, there's the Grand Lodge of Mississippi. Hold on just one second. So if you go to msgrandlodge.org, you should be able to find a Masonic lodge in your area. Or you can just contact them directly. It's msgrandlodge.org. I've, I mean, who are they? Most of them don't know me, right? So there's one of me and a lot of them, just like most Christians don't know me, most Muslims don't know me. The Jewish people that I've been friends with throughout the years have always seemed to treat me very well, and I don't know what they really think of me, but at least based on how they treated me, they respect me. So, I can never know how anybody really feels about me, but my roommate in college, in law school, was Jewish, and he was a really cool dude. I liked him a lot, and he certainly took care of me. I couldn't cook, so he always made food for dinner for us. So, van life sounds incredible. For a while, really wanted to do that NTZ clock because it looked so incredible. Maybe I still will. Who knows? Well, conspiracy theories are full of baloney. Masonry is not a Jewish thing. Masonry is not the thing or a thing of any religion or ethnicity. It belongs to all different ethnicities, religions, backgrounds, beliefs, languages. Um, well, no, John Blue. It depends on what type of person, not what type of Jew, right? If you are a not good person, then it doesn't matter whether you're Jewish or Christian or Muslim, right? It's the person, not the ethnicity, not the religion. No, the inverted pentagram I think you're referring to is from Eastern Star. Um, it references five women of the Bible: Esther, Ruth, Martha, I forget the other two, along with their five virtues. And it's upside down to represent this idea of heavenly virtues being brought down to earth. Try to be now what you'll be here. Try to be now what you will be hereafter. Well, thank you, Ozzy John. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you. I appreciate you being here very much. If you want to support the channel, super chat, like, subscribe, comment. We'll be ending this stream soon, but thank you, everybody who's been here so far. I truly, truly appreciate it. Um, well, joining anything, there's a bit of a leap of faith, but you're not, if you approach the Masonic Lodge and express your interest in joining, it's not like you approach it on a Monday and you're a Mason on Tuesday. You get to know them, they get to know you. You talk to them about their experiences within Freemasonry. You express any concerns you have to them, and you go from there. So it's not like it's a quick process. It's just you get to know them better and you talk to them, and they'll ask you questions about, do you believe in a supreme being, things like that. It's a bit of a process. So it's not like it's not like expressing an interest means you've joined. Um, I mean, not any. I've known Masons who are who are part of the military. I don't think Freemasons should serve more or less than any other group. Like, there's a lot of different ways to serve your community. But I certainly would respect anyone, Mason or not Mason, who serves in the military. I think it takes a lot of bravery and courage to do that, without question. Well, the real Knights Templar was a military, chivalric, and economic order that existed from around 1130 to 1307, give or take, before the infamous Friday the 13th order by the King of France. Um, when you say, so they're very skilled and had a lot of ability, without question, right? Um, right, eventually they were adopted into Freemasonry much later, or at least their symbols were adopted into Freemasonry much, much later. Um, I mean, America never had a grand plan of Freemasonry, nor was the Freemasons taking over America. Freemasonry is not a political entity, it's a social club or a civic group. Um, so Freemasonry is not trying to take over anything. In fact, there's not even a Grand Lodge of America to take over. There's state by state Freemasonry. Um, I guess you could say I'm left wing. I mean, I consider myself conservative, but I think those terms have changed so much now in terms of what it means to be conservative. So we got Vasquez. Welcome. Please hit that like and subscribe button. I'd very much appreciate it. Timothy, I mean, a lot of people can be. You're not wrong. All right, guys, we're going to be ending this stream now because A, my phone's about to die, and B, I need to get some rest. But I'll be back on soon, I promise. Turn on this notification bell. We'll talk soon. No worries, NTZ Claw. And check out once again msgrandlodge.org. msgrandlodge.org. There is no single headquarters of Scottish Rite, Adam. There is Northern Jurisdiction, Southern Jurisdiction, Supreme Council of Canada. There's also Scottish Rite in Europe. Each one has its own headquarters. And again, Freemasonry is decentralized. So is Scottish Rite. Aussie, maybe. That's not completely incorrect. It's a good way to view them or think about them. All right, guys, be back soon. Turn on that notification bell.